Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our hardcore Nuzlocke series. We're gonna be continuing Pokemon Gold and Silver. Where's the chat? There it is. Ah, my nose itches. La la la. Okay. My nose still itches. Stop it. Stop itching. Please, sir, please. Alright, wait a bit dramatic. My mouse froze. There we go. Alright. We're gonna continue the Lego Star Wars Summoning Salt video. Yeah. We're going to continue that.
Wouldn't be too hard to take the record back.
And let's go ahead and continue.
There had been a number
Let me see what my
of
speed
new
up's on.
strategies developed around this time.
5 times.
We Super knew that if he utilized them all in a
So it's morning right now.
he could beat Roadhouse's time by minutes.
So what we want to do is we want to get an Espeon or Eevee and then evolve it to an Espeon while we still can.
And the first one, well, Lego Star Wars has an ultra shortcut. Level 1-4 is the pod race. You have to drive around the course 3 times to beat the stage.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I had it
For
registered.
years, there was no way to really speed this up.
I have Eevee up
Even
front
the
actually.
fastest world records just drove the 3 laps. But in mid-2020, P53, Havster, and Xenor combined to develop a trick called Pod Fraud. It's a very complicated trick, but the gist of it is that the game's only method for checking lap completion is seeing if you've touched an area on the far side of the course, and seeing if you've touched the finish line region. So after driving a lap normally, you go out of bounds with 2 players, leave one by the finish line region, and try to get the other to the far side. This middle section out of bounds kills you, but it lets you build up speed quickly. So, by dying a few times, you can build up enough speed to make it across. By touching this region, the next lap is activated, and you skip having to drive around. This setup takes about 25 seconds, but a lap normally takes about 60, so you save over half a minute. The other big skip is called Grieve Cheese, discovered by Pickletoe with concepts from Fezteo. The general Grievous fight is normally a slow, scripted battle, where you jump around the level and then attack him on the main platform. However, he'll only perform his scripted actions if you're actively standing on this platform. So, you can use Obi-Wan to lure him toward a rock, then jump off the platform and shoot him with player 2 before he walks too far away. By repeating this over and over, you can drain his health without having him ever perform scripted actions. Unfortunately, there's RNG involved. He can randomly block your shots, which wastes time. But ideally, Grieve Cheese can save over half a minute. With all this and more, We Super felt that he could crush the current record. And he was right. On September 18th, he beat Roadhouse by just under 2 minutes, getting a 2:37.49. A few weeks later, he did it again, with a 2:36.08. The leaderboard was back to normal. We Super was dominating the competition multiple minutes ahead of
Okay, so we
anyone
don't have
else.
access to the friendship checker, so we're just
Still,
gonna have to guess.
Years after his first
Do you ever
world
wear
record,
candy?
nobody could catch We Super. At least, not for a couple weeks. Just
You have 2,
16
okay.
days after We Super's 2:36,
Yeah, what's going on? Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. Boston the Raptor. Let me know if I pronounced that wrong, but welcome in. We're doing a Pokemon Pokemon Gold and Silver Hardcore Nuzlocke. Right now I'm trying to evolve my Eevee into an Espeon while it's still daylight out.
Process that gradually raises the Millennium Falcon, so you can eventually enter it and end the level. However, P53 found a way to end the level early. You first have to load the last room of the level, which can be done by entering
And one of your old 3DS games right now?
You
Awesome.
then go back far in
Nice.
the level, and by crossing a
Well, eventually,
particular
at some point in my hardcore Nuzlocke series, I will get to the 3DS games. But we're still in gold and silver. Next is Ruby Sapphire and Diamond Pearl. Then black and white. Maybe black 2 and white 2. Right after, I haven't decided yet. X and Y, Sun and Moon, maybe Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Well, I'll only do that directly after Sun and Moon if I do black 2 and white 2 after black and white. And then Sword and Shield, and then
and the level ends. Saves about a minute and 15
scroll on the ballot, and then I'll go back and do all the other games I missed if I want to. Puzzles and Dragons Z plus Puzzles and Dragons Super Mario Edition. Dude, nice. That almost sounds like it's a That almost sounds like it's a Game Boy Advance game. You know how Game Boy Advance games always, like, well, not always, but a lot of them would have like 2 games in one kind of a thing.
This was uncharted territory.
I had a Game Boy Advance game, that cartridge that was
well, a couple weeks later,
Dr. Mario and Tetris.
25 seconds ahead after episode 2. This was the best pace anyone had ever been on that early. He lost a bit of time from missing a clip in 4-2, but managed to improve to 30 seconds ahead, leaving episode 4.
Right.
With one of the
Let me go ahead and make some save states real quick, and let's see if Eevee will evolve.
He just needed to avoid disaster in the back half to get his 3rd consecutive record. But instead of avoiding a disaster,
it did not.
Something
so we want to reload the last save state and keep going.
Are
you running with the bike? I'm the best and most consistent way to get friendship on one of your Pokemon is to walk with them in the front of your party. Each step, I think each step has a chance of counting towards friendship or something like that. But if you walk with a Pokemon in front of your party, it gains friendship. And in order to evolve Eevee into Espeon or Umbreon, it needs to be at a certain friendship level. And so I need to evolve Eevee. But the reason I'm doing it specifically now is because you can only get Espeon during the day, and you can only get Umbreon during the night. And I want an Espeon, so I want to do it now before it turns night in the game, so that I can get guaranteed get Espeon.
All right at the end. But he didn't need a perfect episode 5. He just needed one that was good enough. He had a 90-second cushion. As long as he didn't completely choke, he'd have another record. But with all the pressure mounting, and being on an unthinkable pace, B-Roadhouse didn't have an amazing episode 5. He had the best episode 5 ever performed.
Good.
This was by far the greatest record the game had ever seen. E-Roadhouse had skipped 233 and skipped 232. He was more than 4 minutes ahead of second place. There was nothing more he could do.
Okay.
There was
Bill's not
nothing
evolved yet.
anyone could do. E-Roadhouse was the game's new top runner, and it was hard to imagine this record being beaten anytime soon. So, he took a break. Since nobody else had a personal best below 236, there were no challengers for the record. However, that didn't stop players from continuing.
So I don't know if I'm gonna use Espeon during the Elite Four or not.
Of the competition changed. It was now a battle.
I can't see Espeon being good against first Elite Four member. Kogan Bruno, sure. Karen, and Lance, but yeah, I don't know if we're gonna use Espeon during the Elite Four. Maybe during the red fight or blue fight or something like that. But I don't know if I'm gonna use it during Elite Four or not.
There were very few new strategies being utilized. The vast majority of their time save came from getting better at the game. Fewer mistakes, better movement, that sort of improvement. By February, a runner named Zach achieved a 235, and by March,
there we go.
There was
now we got Espeon.
Runners with a 234.
All right. Nice.
Senor in second.
Now we can go back to actually like playing the game.
Third place, and Zach in
but yeah, I'm gonna go deposit.
the first time since he set his
gonna go deposit Espeon because we're not gonna use it right now.
Feeling a bit of pressure. They were still minutes away from his record. Their times were dropping.
I don't know how to get out.
So he decided to end his break and go back to
We still have unknown somehow. We also have Crobat.
struggled to
Yeah, let's get Crobat out because
especially compared
the only reason we had Crobat deposits because we couldn't use it during
on
ice
March 6th,
gym or the steel type
Seymour
gym.
would once again lower his second place time.
But anyway, the level cap is level 30.
He was now within
30. No, level 40. Let's go ahead and have Crobat out front, and then let's do the Team Rocket stuff. Gotta do.
Good. And then on March 9th, Zach got on a run that was even with the world record through episode 2, then actually gained half a minute over the record in
Wait, what am I
episode
doing?
4. Once again, this was mostly due to better gameplay rather than new strategies. He ended up losing time to the incredible episodes 6 and 5 in E Roadhouse's record, but still finished with a 2:32.23. Zach was just 35 seconds off the world record. Seymour had a 2:33, Zach had a 2:32, and E Roadhouse had a 2:31. All three of them were doing attempts, and all three of them had potential to get the world record. E Roadhouse's time had run out. He was now in direct competition with two strong runners.
I didn't know if I was gonna one shot.
Question the world record was coming down.
Oh, it was a range. Of course it was.
Now was which of these three was going to do it first? Well, on March 22nd, E Roadhouse broke through. It was only a 5-second record improvement, but it showed that he still had what it took. This run had another fantastic early game, but he lost about 45 seconds in episode 6 from repeatedly missing Disco Skip. Episodes 3 and 5 were up and down, but since his gameplay overall had improved, it was enough to eke out a small record. But his work wasn't done yet. A couple weeks later, E Roadhouse got a 2:31.35. Another small record improvement, but he was making progress while Zach and Seymour weren't improving their times. Still, all three
Okay, that was a little scary, not gonna lie.
grind over the following weeks. The end goal had shifted. It was officially a grind for the game's first sub 2:30. A half-hour barrier hadn't been broken in 2 years. In mid-May, Seymour lowered his time down by over half a minute. All three runners were now within 60
Oh wow, that was awesome.
Who would get sub 2:30 first? Would it be the veteran, the newcomer, or the current world record holder? Well, on May 14th, E Roadhouse got on a run with another incredible first couple of episodes. Once again, this was his best pace ever leaving episode 2. He faltered a bit in levels 4-2 and 4-3, so his pace cooled off slightly exiting episode 4. But after episode 6, he was still a minute ahead of the record. It was clear that this would be a golden opportunity for the sub 2:30. And then, in episode 3-1, something strange.
Really, they didn't one shot, honestly.
E Roadhouse was cycling through his splits to see what time saves he had left, and he accidentally paused his timer.
Do I have an antidote? I have 2 poison cure berries. I guess I'll use one of those. I still want Kenya to die.
His pace would now seem better than it really was. He didn't know how long it was paused, so if this run went all the way, he'd have to retime it to see what he really got. Well, E Roadhouse made his way through episode 3, and it went beautifully. Episode 5 got off to a great start, and entering 5-5, he was a minute 21 ahead. But of course, his real pace was still a mystery. 5-5 was solid, and 5-6
Oh wow,
was nearly
I was lucky.
perfect. And when he stopped his splits, they read 2:29.35. E Roadhouse knew his run was slower than that, but the exact amount wasn't known. It all came down to how long the timer was paused. So, it had to be retimed. And the exact length of the pause would determine if this was the world's first sub 2:30 or if the race would continue. And after the retime, they found that E Roadhouse's timer was paused for 21.5 seconds, meaning his run was a 2:29.57. By the skin of his teeth.
Alright, rival fight, a little nervous,
done
but
it. His
Maybe we should be
6th
fine.
world record in a row was his most important one yet. Roadhouse officially had the world's first sub 230. In the aftermath of this run, Zach and Senor continued doing PB attempts for a short while. Both players lowered their times, but neither could catch up to Roadhouse.
Fine, we just need to eat for Magnemite.
It seemed like another community break would be in order. But you're probably noticing a pattern by now. Whenever community motivation is at a low point, new tricks are always found to bring people back in.
Oh, of course, I missed.
Right on cue in May 2021, two
like we're off at a good time though.
Discovered. One of them was a 30-second time save in 3-5 found by Los. But the one we're gonna go over was the one discovered in 5.
You actually don't get any ice moves if I remember correctly.
This trick was notable for two main reasons.
You might have quick attack. Let's go to
it was in the toughest stage of the run. 5-5 was already a completely broken.
Not bad. Silverfang.
DV1, DV3, and the DV4 jumps. The new trick, fittingly, was called DV2. Every room of the Darth Vader fight now had a skip.
That's hilarious.
Another notable thing about this trick, it was the most difficult one in the entire game. That's right. The toughest trick of the run was now in a stage that was already considered to be the hardest. This is the insanity of DV2. You start by activating a moving platform outside the boss room, then positioning Luke on a panel beneath it and placing R2 on the platform. When the platform moves down, you can collide into Luke as he's sliding off the panel. If done at the perfect moment, Luke will go through the wall under the floor of the next room, and you can just walk underneath the boss fight. Getting the clip into the wall is so precise that pause buffering is used to help line it up. And even so, every single step of this trick is hard. It's hard to get on the panel, it's hard to stay on the panel, it's hard to pause buffer at the right time, it's hard to line up Luke, it's hard to line up R2, it's hard to avoid going too low in the boss room, it's hard to avoid going too high in the boss room. Any of these portions not being done correctly results in a miss. But if done properly, it would save an additional 50 seconds. A team of LavaFang 407, Note KO, and EJP Man created DV2, and it made stage 5-5 a nightmare. Tough trick after tough trick, right at the end of the run. But with all the time save potential, people had to go for it, and it brought runners Zach and Senor back to doing runs. They each got times of 2:30, and then on June 1st, Senor set the world record. It had a rough episode 6, particularly a slow ultra kill in 6-5, but he got DV2 on his second try. A fantastic result for such a tough trick. He closed it out 20 seconds ahead of Roadhouse. Senor's first world record in over a year. Back when the run was 20
I still outspeed even though I'm paralyzed. That's hilarious.
So
doesn't how fast Crobat is and how slow Bloom is.
Yet to get the world record.
A little bit of both, I guess.
He'd been in the top 3 for the past 5 months, even moving into second place on several occasions, but he had never been able to take the top spot. It was frustrating. He knew he was good enough, he'd been on pace before, and he also had a bit of time on his hands coming up. So, Zach decided to start a devoted grind for the record. But this wasn't going to be just any grind. He was going to play the game 14 to 15 hours per day until he set the world record.
Dang, bruh.
Zach began on his quest, and over the next 2 weeks, he played the game for roughly 200 hours. Run after run, good pace after good pace, and despite all that, he didn't achieve a world record. In fact, he didn't even get a PB. Zach remained in 3rd place, behind Roadhouse and Senor. Disappointing for sure, but Zach would still get another chance. Because on June 13th, runners Zach, Roadhouse, and Super all met up to grind for the world record 12 hours a day, with Senor also participating at home. Only 12 hours may have been less than Zach was used to, but still, 4 of the best runners in the world, 12 hours per day, for 3 days straight. Surely a world record was incoming.
Give me a coin,
Never
nice.
happened. 72 hours came and went, with no
Give
world
that to Rickroll, I guess.
And here's why.
I mean, we do
All
like
4
money, right?
runners,
I should
more than
hindsight, I
20
should have
world record paces were
skipped as many trains as I could in the radio tower so I could go back and fight them with the amulet coin, but
all of them died to DV2.
whatever.
It was such a hard trick, and trying to execute it when feeling the pressure of a record-paced run, good luck with that. So for Zach, a grind of 12-hour days hadn't worked. 14-hour days hadn't worked either. So he had only one remaining option.
24/7.
On June 16th, Zach began a grind of 16-hour days to get the LEGO Star Wars world record.
Dang.
And he never had any runs on record pace. It was starting to seem hopeless. But on June 18th, Zach finally got a run deep ahead of the record. And what a pace it was. Entering 5-5, his best possible time was 2:28.43. That was a good enough pace that he didn't even need to do DV2. He could get the record without it. But Zach was committed to going for it. And on just his 3rd try, he got in the wall. If he could just make it to the end of the room, he'd be in the clear. But disaster struck. He went too low and died, forcing him to start DV2 over again. He lost over a minute and ended up missing the record by just seconds. Had he skipped doing DV2, he would have had the world record. So, Zach kept going. More long attempt sessions, more failed runs. But on June 24th, he'd find himself in an eerily similar situation. A best possible time of 2:28.08 into 5-5. Once again, he could skip DV2.
Yeah, we could get Ho-Oh. I probably will.
But once again, he was committed to going for it. It was a decision that
Good
cost
Peepo,
him the
great
record last
move.
time. But this time, he hit it first try. He was in a golden position now. He closed out 5-5, got door clip, and when Zach entered the Millennium Falcon to end 5-6, he had just set a new world record by over a minute. After months of grinding and hundreds of hours of world record attempts, Zach's efforts were vindicated. This record didn't stop others from trying. Senor, Wii Super, and Roadhouse all continued doing record attempts after the in-person meetup. But eventually, their attempts stopped, in large part because 5-5 was such a demoralizing stage. So, throughout the rest of 2021, Zach's time remained at the top of the leaderboard. He went from not being able to set the record to holding the top spot for 6 months straight. In early 2022,
Alright, who's our
Zach
best bet?
decided to come back to the
You have
It
Thunderwave,
had
right?
taken him hundreds of attempts
so Ambrose
and
is our best
many
bet.
months of grinding to set his world record. And on top of that, he hadn't seriously ran the category in half a year. So, expectations weren't too high when he started up runs again. But instead of being the underdog like he was
Inks
in
is our counter,
2021,
alright.
this was the Zach of 2022. Last year, it was a big deal when Zach finally managed a world record. This year, he was unstoppable. Roadhouse, Senor, Wii Super, none of these guys could catch up. By June, he had taken his time down to 2:27.19. Zach was using even more 1P2C than in previous runs.
We're gonna have to buy more Pokemon.
4-4 was now being done almost completely with 2 controllers. But once again, most of the time saved from these records was Zach playing better.
Dude.
Tricks were being done faster, and execution overall was improving. Improving to the point that nobody could catch him. He was more than
Dude! You're not good!
But then, after his 2:27.19, The world record stayed stagnant for over 2 months. This was despite the fact that he lost 30 seconds for missing Dooku skip in 2-6.
Yeah, okay, you deserve to die.
Time in 5-1
If you don't
as well.
live that, then honestly, you weren't good enough. I mean, I already knew Jinx wasn't even that good to begin with, but
Zach was unable to,
no.
And nobody else was particularly close. The community was as active as ever, but with no records being set, a big opportunity was going to waste. So, in an attempt to get the game a new world record, the community decided to organize one more big event. It was going to be another 4-day break the record session. But instead of the game's top 4 runners competing, this time they expanded it to the top 10. 10 runners, 4 days, and a goal time of 2:26. Even with this many runners, nobody knew for sure if a new record would be set. But one thing that wasn't in doubt was that there would be a lot of movement on the leaderboards. Zach and Emotes
we get Ultra Balls whenever we get to
place, and they were the favorites to
Blackthorn.
win the record. Just behind them were Bacon Soda and Bricko, still with decent odds to get the record, and beyond them was a mix of prior record holders and newer contenders. Their personal bests ranged from Zach's 227 down to a 233, but all of them knew that they had a serious chance to move up on the leaderboard.
I believe this also counts as a new area.
Let the world record attempts begin.
The Weeping Bells I kind of.
Roadhouse
Yeah, I'm not gonna ever use this thing. Oh wow, okay, we got a crit. A non-crit definitely would not have killed it. That's just hilarious. But but seriously though, I would not have used that. So I'm not devastated or anything.
Possible time of 2:25.46 into
Yo, what's going on? Nemco66, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. What's the video about? I'm watching a summoning, put on a summoning salt video. He's going over the world record history of Lego Star Wars.
2:27.47. This was good enough for second place. It was a big motivator for the rest of the group, especially for the recently demoted to third place Roadhouse. And toward the end of day 1, both he and Zach found themselves on record pace into 5-5. But DV2 would strike again. Roadhouse finished with a 2:28.25, and Zach got a 2:27.45. Zach's time was faster than every runner on the leaderboard, except for his own record. Day 1 had come and gone, and despite movement from some top runners, no new records were set. Day 2 featured a couple PBs from runners in the top 10.
Oh my gosh, confused and asleep.
Got a 25-second PB cut, and Senor moved from 5th to 4th place. But for most of the day, none of the top runners got anything on world record pace. Then, late in the night, after most runners were done,
already fought him? Okay.
Zach had a run with 2:20.
I think that's every trainer before the Ice Cave, or Ice Path, or whatever it's called. I can't remember.
But of course, he still had to get DV2. And he actually did it first try. This was the best chance of the event. He had one tough trick to go, door clip. And unfortunately, he couldn't get it. He lost over 20 seconds and finished with a 2:27.38. The best time of the event so far, but still no world record. Day 3 featured several more promising runs from Zach. He achieved numerous 2:27s, but none were low enough to beat the record. There was a bit of movement from lower ranked runners, as It's Jared moved from
oh crap, I just screwed up.
But as day 3 was coming to a close,
no I didn't.
The record remained at Zach's 2:27.19. Time
okay, yes I did. Yeah I did, I screwed it up.
The game's top runners had gotten close.
I never screw up this puzzle. Like I legit don't remember the last time I ever screwed up this puzzle.
Toward the end of day 3, those runners would get a bit of extra motivation. With all this attention on LEGO Star Wars speedruns, a new strategy was found in the Grievous.
Hey, what do I do again?
Before, Grieve Cheese could be used to get a quick kill, but it was
inconsistent
as he would randomly block.
I pushed in there.
But by switching your resolution to 800 by 600 instead of 1920 by 1080, the quick kill becomes much more consistent. On average, you save 10 to 15 seconds. This wasn't an enormous time save, but it was enough to give these runners a pretty big boost. Yet still, Day 3 came to a conclusion, and no world records were set. 24 hours to go. Through the first 3 days, neither Zach nor Roadhouse had set a PB, but Zach certainly had the better chances of the two. He set numerous 227s, and with the new time save on Grief Cheese, he was in position to get a record if he could just get there again. But on the evening of Day 4, it was Roadhouse who found himself ahead of the record after episode 6. After utilizing the new strategy and having a nice start to episode 5, he remained in the lead heading into 5-5. This was the level that caused Zach to miss the record so many times in the last 3 days. But Roadhouse clutched it out. He got a first try DV2, and entering 5-6, his best possible time was 226.40. Roadhouse was one level away from getting a 226. He needed to get door clear, and he did, after wasting about 20 seconds. The run was now teetering on the line of being a 226 or a 227, and in the end, the run finished as a 227.03. It wasn't a 226, but it was a world record. It had taken over 3 days, but the world record had finally been achieved. And interestingly, at the exact same time, Zach was on a run in episode 3. Entering 5-5, this run too had potential to get a 226. It was a chance to take the record right back. But his final 2 levels weren't good enough. He finished with a 227.07. If he had set this time an hour earlier, it would have been record. But he was too late. And with the event winding down, it was shaping up to be a pretty disappointing few days for Zach. He had done attempts for 4 days straight, and not only was there no 226, but he had lost his world record in the process. Runs continued on for the next couple hours, but the event had a hard cutoff of 11 PM to get your last run started. And as the last few seconds before the deadline ticked away, Zach was on the main menu. Maybe he shouldn't even bother starting another run. He had done hundreds of attempts over the past few days, and no 226 had come out of it.
Once I'd lost record, I was like, okay, I lost record. I no longer have a streak of records. It is what it is. That's totally fine. But I really wanted to win BTR, and I didn't want to go out on the note that I had, which was like multiple choked records in the event in previous days. Obviously, I wanted the record back. Obviously, I wanted to win the event. But getting the first 226 was still like the priority in my mind.
So, with just 8 seconds to go, Zach started his final run of the event. And in doing so, he joined 6 other runners who were in the middle of their own final runs.
And I was like, this run has to finish. There is no world where I reset here, because even if it doesn't PB, I have to get through this run no matter what. Once I started that run, I was like, I know I can do it. I didn't think I would, but I knew I could. During every cutscene, I would be looking at the restream, seeing who was... and I saw that Ginger was on a really good run, and the reason I noticed this was only because I could hear the commentary.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
And the commentary was just like losing their minds. They were like, I can't believe that Ginger is like...
I'm gonna look at Claire's team real quick.
Like, this
no, I know it's 3 Dragon Arrow and the King John. I'll look it up.
Sure enough, it was insane. Ginger was the
I don't think I really
runner with a personal best of 231.59.
Something I want to do real quick.
Back to the wall at the very end of the event, he had somehow mustered a run on world record pace.
This isn't really gonna help me for the gym, but I should get this anyway.
4 minutes ahead of his PB.
Ginger has this capability sometimes to just play insane. He's an anomaly. He can sometimes just pull something out that you've never.
This is
like,
a new.
even thought was
Is this a new
possible.
route?
And I knew that it was actually a realistic possibility.
Let me double check here real quick. I don't know.
First 226 just with that run.
Was this really happening? The 7th place runner jumping straight to world record?
Route 46 it says.
Well, Ginger had an up and down last few levels, and he finished with a 227.51.
And then this is route what?
And
45. Okay, so yeah, this is a new area right here.
But it still wasn't the world record. Meanwhile, while all eyes were on Ginger,
Yes, right.
Zach had started off on an incredible
Okay,
run
well,
of
I
his
guess so
own.
much for that encounter.
So we typically talk about a good run as exiting. We pay attention to our episode 4 exit. That marks like.
But you have you're the one with the.
Previously, the best episode.
Okay, just making sure.
Was I think a 109.56.
When does Milton get body slam, man?
Was something that had been done, I think, a total of 3 times ever, and so what happened was I got a
Dragonair for a ride on. That's an awful
that
trade.
Is something that
I would not do that trade.
You don't need a 109 for a 226. You don't even
We can't enter that cave until we beat Claire, I don't think.
And that made me
Yeah, no,
a
we
little
can't.
nervous.
But what happened next was just plain crazy.
Yeah, let me look at when Milton
Greatest
gets body slam.
races ever, Zach proceeded to play the best episode 6 ever performed. Now, this was
Not till level 43. That sucks. That's not what you want to see.
It was the fastest pace ever by over a minute.
Whatever, it's fine.
Zach was in position to demolish the world record. He just had to hold it together for the final 2 episodes.
The run was pretty much insane. It kind of bled a little bit of time in episode 3 until I got to the infamous library skip. When I got there, I prayed to the gods, and those gods did not give me a first try library skip. They did not give me a second try library skip. They did not even give me a 10th try library skip. So I ended up losing around 55 seconds on that trick. Now at this point, I was like, okay, this is fine. Now I wasn't happy, it's only a minute. Now that might sound like an insane thing to say. This was such an insane run that I could afford a minute time loss. So I did lose a minute, and everything was pretty much still in order. I was still way ahead of the record, and out of episode 3, going into episode 5, everything was definitely still set up for me to get a low 226. It was definitely still in the question.
But while Zach was trying to navigate through episode 5, the other players were finishing up their runs. And guess what?
Chicken butt.
P-Man?
No.
PB by over a minute. T-Fresh? PB by 18 seconds. We Super? PB by 40 seconds.
And all of this stuff is happening, and I'm on this run, and I'm like, my mind cannot comprehend everything going on. There's 4 people PBing, and so in my mind, I'm like, it's time to focus. So I close the stream.
With all the other runners finishing, all eyes were back on Zach. He made his way into 5-5, still ahead of the record by close to a minute.
When you're on pace, this level is the killer. I mean, it's no question. There isn't a level in the game that's even close to this hard. And I get to DB2 skip, and I realize that my hands are shaking. It's very hard to pause buffer while your hands are doing this the whole time. So I have this this thing that I usually tell myself. I'm like, you can be nervous later, but now you have to hit the trick.
Can you stop paralyzing every single one of my freaking Pokemon, please?
My first actual attempt at the trick. DB2 skip definitely.
Oh my god. I didn't know low kick could miss. What is low kick's accuracy, bro? I swear that it's 100, bro.
So I miss it once,
100 accuracy.
and I'm like, that's fine. But when I miss it
What?
twice, that's when I start to get a little concerned. I think I missed it 6 times before I finally got
Generation
it.
1, 2, 3.
At that point, I was
is
like, uh-oh.
90 accuracy.
This is gonna be close. The best spin opening cutscene is over a minute long. And I think
that's stupid.
that is interesting. You get almost 2 minutes to sit there and be ready, you know, to prepare. The whole time, I was not preparing. I was sitting there, shaking, being nervous out of my mind. My heart was beating super fast. I could not stop thinking about what was gonna happen. I kept telling myself,
No
"You do this,
way.
you do this, you
No
do
way
this."
this is happening right
I don't know
now.
what was helping.
The toughest trick in 5-6 is door clip.
Dude, how did my team almost get demolished by a level 36 Dragonair, bro?
But this run was perhaps more important than
I mean, I did get extremely unlucky, but I'd rather get extremely unlucky against some random trainer than the gym leader.
He got door clip right away.
Oh.
This was it. He had some leeway. and
Anyway,
his
we gotta put
answer
together a
last
team for
3
Claire.
rounds, he was in position to get a massive record.
So I enter the end platform and I look at my timer.
Could try to do wheezing maybe.
Probably do this. So I get there and I'm killing the stormtroopers, and it's going a lot worse than it used
Really
to.
slow is the only problem. I
should
think I
have
need speed,
absolutely been
man.
cementing like a low 226 5x here.
Could also do
And I
slow,
was actually
bro.
starting to lose a lot more time than I
Oh,
thought.
okay. Never mind. That just defeated the purpose of what I was just saying.
I killed no stormtroopers that just died, which is just a flat 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, now I'm cutting it really close. So I kill the last guy.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, man.
And I literally just say, please, 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 my God, please. I didn't know what to do besides just pray. I hit the door. I looked at the timer. 2:26:59.7. I was at first in disbelief for about half a second, and then I lost my mind. I could not believe it. I was just so proud of myself to finally get the 226. The amount of emotions running through me were just...
Do you think we should do Gyarados? Okay, who's not going to be helpful for Claire?
The 226 was incredible.
I don't think Tentacruel will be useful.
Zach's and others' efforts since the start of the year. But it wasn't the end of the road for LEGO Star Wars speedruns. There was still room for improvement.
Tentacle, yeah, Tentacruel's not going to be helpful for Claire, so we're going to deposit you.
So, even in the few months after the event, there's been a lot of record improvements.
Is there anyone else in my party that's gonna suck against Claire? I don't really see myself using Furo. Let me look up moveset real quick.
He'd then lower the record down to the world's first
I do get drill pick at level 40. Yeah, I guess I could use Furo. No, I do need to look up Claire's team because I don't know what the movesets are, and I need to see what... Okay, so Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, for Kingdra, Surf, Smokescreen, Hyper Beam, and Dragon Breath. Okay, so
ultimately lowering the record to its first 224. But that's not who holds the record today. That honor goes to Roadhouse, a 224.43. This record featured a fairly slow first 4 episodes, but had the strongest final 2 episodes ever.
So we need a Pokemon that's not weak to ice, electric, and preferably water.
LEGO Star Wars is a game that you played 10 years ago for fun, then never touched again.
You're weak to electric. You're not weak to any, but you're slow. You're not weak to any, but you're well. Okay, no, yeah, honestly, I think Miltank's our best bet for the Dragonair anyway.
This game is so much
but
more than
he doesn't get he doesn't get Body Slam, which is brutal.
Creating rivalries
I need that, man.
that have lasted years. They've given the game a renewed boost of popularity.
Let's check out Giraffe Ring.
And over the course of a decade, this is how they've lowered its world record. Thanks for watching. Giraffe Ring's not awful. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing.
Let me see what moves you get though. Okay, do you get? You don't even get Side Beam till level 41, bro. What? They freaking... I think they hate Giraffe Rig, whoever freaking made this game, bro. What? Alright, putting on the next Summoning Salt video, which is Super Mario Bros. 3, 100% world records. Yeah, so Giraffe Rig's a no-go. You just... no. What? Weezing's actually kind of tempting. Weezing's gonna be better than Crobat. There's for Alligator, but electric type. There's Venom Moth we could do.
So much out of your control needs to line up, but it also requires relentlessly precise platforming through the...
Venom Moth over who though? Maybe Gyarados, honestly.
We've already been over warpless world records in this game, but there's
no, we'll have Gyarados. We'll have Gyarados.
100. And over the past 10 plus years, it's become one of the most coveted NES
maybe over Furo.
This is the history of Mario 3 100.
Yeah, I'll see it over Furo, I guess. Who did I want? Oh yeah, Venonat. All right. Wait, we're gonna need at least one Flying Mon in the party. I'm gonna go ahead and
So, what is a 100% speedrun? Well, for a normal warpless speedrun of Mario 3, the only requirement is that you can't use
get at least one Pokemon to level 40.
to
Oh!
to a later world. However,
What just happened there? Why did I live on 1 HP, bro? What?
over certain levels, since
Like, genuinely, what just happened there? Okay, never mind. It's not a complete grind for whatever reason.
100%, the
my gosh,
rules are
okay.
a bit stricter. You've got to complete every
It had to have been
single
self-destruct.
every map
Like, surely, right?
through the entire
Whatever.
game.
Anyway, point is, we need a Flymon.
All the numbered
We'll have to deposit someone temporarily
and hand stages
until
as
we
well as
can,
enemies like Hammer Brothers and Piranha Plants.
we'll deposit Amphros.
It's a brutal category. You can't skip over anything dangerous.
But we need a Flymon
This category comes from a
until we...
speedrun from December 2005,
I need to...
performed by David Gibbons. Now, David Gibbons may not be a familiar name to most, but back in the early 2000s, he was one of the most prolific speedrunners around.
Oh wait, I forgot we have the
He held
experience
world
share.
records in Mario 64,
Forgot about that.
GoldenEye,
So what's the best place to grind?
Donkey Kong Country 3, the list just goes on and on.
Honestly, from experience,
2005,
the C next to
Mario
Seatonwood's the best place to grind.
A 100% run clocking in at 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 10 seconds. Let's dive in.
But we want to give the experience share to Bennet
Gibbons
first, I
played
guess.
on the Super Mario All-Stars version of the game, but since all his other
Where's
records
the
are
experience share?
SNES and N64 games, it's likely Gibbons played on this version since he didn't own an NES. He started in World 1 and began making his way through the game. Gibbons' first goal was to build up the P meter as often as he could. The P meter checks every 8 frames whether you're running and whether you're on the ground. If both are true, then an arrow builds in the meter, and if not, then it'll lose an arrow. Once the meter is full, you get P speed, allowing you to run much faster than normal. So, throughout the entire game, Gibbons frequently tried to run on the ground and build P speed. In World 1, he was able to build it on several occasions, but usually slowed down and lost it slightly after. As a whole, Gibbons was going through stages quickly, but some levels looked more like a casual playthrough. 3-2 in particular had a lot of falling in the water and riding on slow-moving platforms. Since the run was so long, he played a lot of sections safe, slowing down to ensure he didn't take damage or die. But whenever he built P-speed, he was able to fly through levels. And all the while, he was collecting items, which the game automatically gives you after completing worlds and fighting Hammer Brothers. He saved most of these until World 7, which features many of the game's longest stages. So in 7-6, for instance, instead of entering the door to play the level, he used a P-wing to fly over the wall and run to the other side. Level complete in a matter of seconds. All in all, this was a pretty impressive speedrun for its time, and it got a positive reception in the community. But there were a lot of safe strategies used, and it was obvious the world record had potential to go lower. That being said, for the next 6 years, David Gibbons' run remained as the fastest recorded 100% time. During that period, new Mario 3 runners joined Speed Demo's archive, but for the most part, they focused on the game's other categories. However, for Awesome Games Done Quick 2012, a runner named TJP7154 submitted Mario 3 100%. It got accepted, meaning he'd be running it in front of thousands of viewers that January. So, TJP had to practice. He began streaming 100% runs on his Twitch page, and in November 2011, he beat David Gibbons' record. But this time, 100% looked a little different. On November 6th, 2011, TJP beat the record by over 2 minutes. a 121.56. And he was able to take full advantage of what had been discovered over the last 6 years. First off, he was far better at preserving P-speed. For instance, in 2-2, he turned back at the start of the stage to build P-speed, then precisely jumped to maintain it through the whole level. 4-3 was more of the same, maintaining P-speed by mapping out his jumps perfectly. It was overall a higher level of gameplay than Gibbon's run. There were also smaller optimizations TJP made. It seems logical to jump to get the wand sooner after a Koopa fight, like Gibbons did, but Mario eventually has to slowly fall to the bottom of the screen after grabbing it. So, if he grabs it on the ground instead, Mario falls a much shorter distance and actually gains time. He used this throughout the run to save a few
I like when Venonat evolves.
But here's the thing about TJP. He was practicing for a marathon,
31, okay.
not trying to optimize.
Need to keep an eye on Venonat when it gets 31. I want to avoid evolving it for as long as possible, because I'm not sure if the moveset helps, but we don't need it till level 41, so no reason to really.
TJP also died 5 times and took damage on numerous occasions. It made for an entertaining run, despite some obvious places to improve. But the biggest addition to TJP's run, he used every trick to his advantage. Welcome to the wonderful yet punishing world of Mario 3's glitches. This is stage 6-9. Normally, you enter the pipe and play through the level, but instead, TJP did this. It's called a wall jump, an incredibly difficult glitch in Mario 3. First off, you need to jump into the top 6 pixels of a block, and then jump again the frame you hit the block, although in rare cases you may get a second frame. That means you have 6 pixels of wiggle room, and then must time a jump down to the 60th of a second. That's not easy. But then there's stuff out of your control. In order to have the chance to wall jump as Small Mario, you must be at least 2 pixels into the wall. When running, Mario moves 2 pixels and 8 sub-pixels per frame. There are 16 sub-pixels in a pixel, meaning essentially he moves 2.5 pixels per frame. Depending on how you're lined up, the wall jump can be impossible. For instance, if you happen to be 1 pixel away from the wall with a low sub-pixel value, you'll only be 1 pixel deep into the wall on the next frame, and won't.
Okay, the only reason we want to...
If you instead,
this really sucks, because it gets psychic at 41.
Sub-pixels gained would cause Mario
so if I don't
pixel deep,
evolve it, I can get it way sooner.
The math works out so that you only have a 60%.
But if I evolve it, I won't have psychic for the Elite 4 if I, for some reason, want to evolve the Elite 4.
Your sub-pixel value and
which I don't think I will. Oh, that's fine. Alright, we just want to keep it till it get. We want to keep it at as a Venonat until I get Sleep Powder.
If you jump right into the corner
so level 36 is when we want to not evolve it. Or is when we want to evolve it.
This means you can skip straight through entering a door to play a stage and go right to the end. But of course,
gotta pay attention to
frame perfect jump to hit the
when Venonat levels up so I can cancel it.
You also need sub-pixel luck to click in far enough. Even if you get a frame perfect jump every time, Mario only
like I'm gonna be making some save states so I don't accidentally evolve it before I want to.
These tricks are, TJP was committed to going for them. He went for the wall jump in 6-9 and got it 7th try. He went for the clip in 7-1 and got it 17th try. He went for a clip in 7-5 and failed 9 times before giving up. Finally, in 7-6,
you're 32, right? Okay.
Vindicating his efforts.
Once Venonat gets to 33, we can do it on its own because that's when it gets Psy Beam.
Despite a lot of misses, TJP clearly showed that if performed fast enough, the wall jump and all the various clips could potentially save big time. A few weeks later, just before his GDQ run, TJP set another 100% world record, 120.29. It was cleaner overall with fewer deaths, and took no more than 6 tries to get the major clips in World 7. Despite a lead of over 3 minutes, TJP couldn't help himself from going all out in the last stage of the game. He started by going into the basement and failing a clip 31 consecutive times. He then returned to the start of the level and attempted a different clip 4 times before giving up and taking the elevator. He then successfully hit a clip at the top of the level, but it actually lost him time because of how slowly you move through the wall. He may have lost over a minute and a half in one stage, but his run looked cool and was still a world record. Now, TJP's run stood as the official record for about 8 months. It was beaten in August 2012, and the runner to do it is pretty well known today, Mitch Flowerpower. By 2012, Mitch had already been a top Mario 3 runner for years. He got the Warpless record in 2010, and likely had a 100% run faster than TJP's runs back in 2011. But he didn't record his time until 2012. By then, Mitch's skills had risen far beyond TJP's. And as a result, he was able to do this to the world record. 100% had just been taken to another level. And the way Mitch did it, P-speed, P-speed, P-speed. He had practiced runs of individual levels for years, and was able to apply P-speed techniques there to full game runs. The only problem with this record, it wasn't exactly 4K quality, a low resolution camera pointed at a TV. But the gameplay on the screen was unbelievably high quality for the time. Take 1-3 for instance. Mitch did a tiny jump over a Koopa to build P-speed while jumping off the boomerang bro. Take the first fort in World 4. This is an incredibly tough stage, but Mitch kept P-speed the entire way through. There are some really precise jumps in there, but he never slowed down. Mitch's gameplay was not only cleaner, but also smarter. In World 6's first fort, Mitch powered up, then intentionally took damage so he could run on the spikes quickly, instead of slowly riding on the platform. There were time saves like this all across the run, allowing Mitch to be multiple minutes ahead after 6 worlds. But instead of going for the wall jump in 6-9 and the clip in 7-6, Mitch used P-wings in both stages to fly straight up top, instead of using them for safer strategies in stages like TJP did. He still managed to get 7-1 clip second try, and got a couple clips in 7-5.
Okay, so there's no reason not to evolve.
A perfect run,
Offing.
but Mitch's 114 was the new gold standard for 100% runs. Now, when compared to Warpless, Mario 3's other long category, 100%'s leaderboard was a little different. Mitch was way ahead of the pack in 100%, but he had one active competitor for Warpless runs, a speedrunner known as Karua. Throughout 2012, Mitch and Karua were locked in a Warpless world record battle, trading the record back and forth throughout the year. Mitch knew Karua would be an incredible 100% runner if he ever gave it a try, and he encouraged him to start running it. So, later that year, Karua did, and in December, he beat Mitch's world record, 113.52. Karua had a different approach this run. Mitch went all out, executing as many tough strategies as he could and being less concerned about mistakes. Karua, on the other hand, went for a more consistent run. He expected to get hit and make the occasional mistake, but his initial goal was to avoid dying, something TJP and Mitch failed to do. He also wanted to have a cleaner run overall. Mitch had some slowdowns in World 5, while Karua was able to hold on to his Fire Flower. This allowed him to build P-speed in 5-3, while Mitch had to slowly jump his way through. Keeping with his conservative strategies, Karua saved a lot of items for the later worlds, and P-winged over 6-9 and 7-6. He also used the P-wing in 7-9, allowing him to go straight to the top and skip part of the maze-like stage. He still went for the 7-1 clip and got it 5th try. So overall, his safe strategy worked beautifully. Karua completed the run without dying and ended up with a 43-second world record improvement over Mitch. The run certainly wasn't without its faults. Small time losses were scattered across the run, especially in World 6, and he took a lot of time trying to build P-speed at the start of 7-2. But Karua said that all he wanted with this run was a starting point. He wanted to achieve a clean world record and then return to improve it in the future. So, 5 months later, that's exactly what Karua tried to do. On May 19th, 2013, after a break from doing 100% runs, Karua got on a pace with a beautiful first half. He bled a little bit from slowdowns in World 5, but his World 6 was much cleaner than his last record. Karua was over half a minute ahead into World 7, but he still had to get the 7-1 clip. First try. He also gained time by building P-speed faster in 7-2, and suddenly, he was over 41 seconds ahead going into the final world. World 8 is a very interesting world in Mario 3 speedruns. On its surface, it doesn't seem that difficult. Nearly half the stages are auto-scrollers, which are essentially cutscenes for speedrunners, and the remaining stages don't have many super difficult tricks. You don't even have to worry about the hands like you do in Warpless. You're forced to play them all in 100%, so the only RNG is a 1.5 second time loss from getting pulled in by a hand versus selecting it manually. So, World 8 shouldn't be that tough of a world. But the remaining levels, 8-1, 8-2, the Fort, and Bowser's Castle, they may not be super difficult, but they're just hard enough that, when combined with the pressure of being on world record pace, it can be very easy to make a mistake. With the pressure off, top runners rarely make mistakes in World 8. But everything changes when you're on world record pace. One slip of the button, one mistimed jump, and your world record chance can vanish. Three consecutive levels with a mistake. The pressure may have gotten to Karua. But incredibly, since he led by so much going into World 8, he still pulled off a world record by 7 seconds. This may not have been the record he was going for, but Karua was in it for the long haul. 100% had turned into his new favorite category, and he was willing to devote most of his attention to it. And so, throughout 2013, this is what Karua did to the world record. Four months later, Karua had taken the world record all the way to 1:12:40. Despite lowering the record by over a minute, there weren't any big new strategies. The improvements came from making fewer mistakes and slowly adding in small time saves. An example of this is 4-1. Karua used to never build P-speed in this level, and just jumped his way through while slowing down as little as possible. But starting with his 1:12:40, he picked up a Koopa shell, then used it to run into a Para-Koopa so he could avoid taking damage and build P-speed. He could then preserve it across the remainder of the level and save a few seconds. This was Karua's category. Mitch was close to him at the start of the year, but as he chose to focus on other categories instead, Karua was able to pull away. And as a result, The gap between the two of them was nearly 2 full minutes. But then, something interesting happened. Mario 3 100% was accepted into AGDQ 2014, just as it had been 2 years prior with TJP. Only this time, it would be a co-op run, with Mitch and Karua both playing. So, Mitch had to get ready. He'd spent the year playing the game's warpless and any percent categories, setting a total of 5 world records between the two. But he hadn't played 100% in over a year, and since then, Karua had lowered the record 7 times. So, during preparations for that year's GDQ run, the question was, could Mitch keep up with Karua? And on November 13th, 2013, that question was answered. This was a record improvement of 7 seconds, but there's one important caveat. Mitch played on an NES, while Karua played on Wii Virtual Console. These consoles have different frame rates, and essentially meant that Karua was playing in slightly slow motion compared to Mitch. Over the course of an hour-long speedrun, it worked out that Mitch gained 20 seconds over Karua from frame rate differences alone. So his improvement of 7 seconds was a slower played run overall. But it was still the world record. Mitch's strategies were quite different than Karua's. In the World 2 Fort, for instance, Mitch intentionally lost fire to damage boost off the spikes. It's faster initially, but you lose time by not being able to fire kill the Boom Boom and having to power back up later. Mitch also gained time back in a few of the stages where Karua lost big time, but he had his struggles too. His 7-1 clip was 12th try. Yet when factoring in the time save from frame rate differences, it was still enough to beat the world record.
I did it. I did it.
After 15 months of dominance from Karua, Mitch was back on top. But in the lead up to their AGDQ run, Mitch wasn't the only one practicing. Karua started doing 100% runs as well. And this time, there was no more Wii Virtual Console. Karua switched to playing on an NES. And so, just a few weeks after Mitch's record, Karua beat him back by 24 seconds. Keeping with the theme from these two runners, Karua's record was more consistent than Mitch's run. Mitch had lost fire in the forts in Worlds 4 and 5, while Karua didn't get hit in either spot. And instead of a 12th try 7-1 clip, Karua got it first try. He did die in 6-3, but it wasn't a significant time loss since he was already Small Mario, and it was at the start of the level. It was a quintessential Karua world record. He went for fewer extravagant tricks compared to Mitch, but was steady nearly the whole way through. And it paid off beautifully. Mitch and Karua continued practicing in the lead up to AGDQ 2014, but neither lowered their 100% time. But then, the day before the marathon was scheduled to start, Karua came through with one more world record, the first 111 in the game's history. It was a bit more of an up and down run, with Karua losing fire in World 3 and missing a tail swipe in 7-5, causing him to lose time going for the backup. But this run is notable for one particular trick Karua went for. It's not a huge time save, but is extremely difficult and punishing if missed. The trick is in World 3, saves 3 seconds, and fittingly, is named Door 3. In World 3's first fort, there's a hallway of doors that lead to different areas. You're supposed to go into the 6th door, then jump up to a higher door and enter the boss corridor. However, if you instead enter the 3rd door and press up to re-enter the door as soon as Mario spawns on the next screen...
Yeah, what's going on, Jose Carlos Checa? Hope I'm pronouncing it right. No talking? I can talk, I'm just not talking because there's no one here. There's nothing to really talk about. I'm just grinding my Pokemon for the 8th gym right now.
As you spawn on the screen. and if you miss, you fall into the water and lose 11 seconds. It's extremely high risk for not a huge reward. But Kurua went for it since his run was off to a slow start, and it paid off. A few days later, Mitch and Kurua had their GDQ run, and then both players took a break from 100%. The world record had entered the 111s, and although there's a limit to just how optimized an hour-long run can be, it was starting to get there. There weren't many huge time saves left. The smaller things were becoming more and more important. But when Kurua came back to 100% runs in March, one element of the run in particular was gaining relevance. So far, we've talked about all the execution and tough tricks required in a 100% run. Building P-speed, getting clips, and all the rest. But we've been ignoring a big aspect of the speedrun. Mario 3 100% has one other major component, RNG. It's time to talk about the Hammer Brothers. The first 6 worlds in the game feature one or more Hammer Brothers on the overworld map. After every level you complete, or every time you die, these Hammer Brothers randomly move in an available direction. They only intend to move one space at a time, but they can only stop on an unoccupied tile. So if they land on a level or another Hammer Brother, they have to move again. All the Hammer Brothers move at the same time, but you have to wait for whatever the longest movement is to stop before Mario can move. So if one Hammer Brother moves once while the other moves twice, you end up taking the time loss from a movement of 2. Now, you can get some pretty long movements from the Hammer Brothers. In World 5, this Hammer Brother can't stop on the fort, and then can't stop on level 8 or level 9. So, he has to move 4 spaces before he can finally stop. Each additional movement costs 32 frames, or roughly half a second, so a movement of 4 loses a second and a half over the optimal movement of 1. But under perfect conditions, you can get even worse movements. If the Hammer Brothers never land on an open tile, they have to keep moving. They can even get stuck on top of each other if they meet at a 3-way intersection. Speedrunner Stewie Cartman has one of the longest Hammer Brother movements on record, and movements like this can theoretically take place in any playthrough of Mario 3. It probably goes without saying that if this happens in a run, it's an immediate reset. Even without a super long marathon movement, Hammer Brother movements can still cost the player big time over the course of a 100% run. An extra movement is only half a second, but there are dozens and dozens of spots for movements during a run. In World 5 alone, getting the worst possible versus the best possible Hammer Brother luck is about 21 seconds of difference. Extrapolate that to the full game, and one speedrun to the next can have significant time variance from RNG alone. So, when Kurua came back to attempts in March 2014, Hammer Brother RNG mattered more than ever before. On March 27th, he got on a run that pulled ahead big time after World 3. This was partly thanks to quick Hammer Brother movements, but mostly because he didn't get hit in the fort like his last record. World 4 featured great Hammer Brother luck. 2 movements of 2 and 5 movements of 1, and he didn't have to travel far to fight them either. Unfortunately, World 5 wasn't as kind, as he got several movements of 3. Still, going into World 7, Kurua had built up a substantial lead, and it just kept getting better. 7-1 clip was first try once again, and he got the tail swipe in 7-5 that he missed in the last record. Kurua had a 17-second lead into World 8, but we already know how hard this world can be under pressure.
Alright, so we need to get Gyarados to level 40, and then we're ready for the gym.
Still a record by 5 seconds, but World 8 was starting to become a problem spot for Karua. But just a week later, he had a chance for redemption. Karua carried an 8-second lead after World 6, but this run is notable for the new strategies Karua went for in World 7. In 7-9, he successfully hit a clip that saves 5 seconds. Instead of having to navigate the maze normally, you can go right through the wall to skip a segment of it. And in the second fort, Karua went for a beautiful strategy where you preserve P-speed throughout the 2 rooms. It's incredible to watch. You must throw fireballs and time your jumps perfectly in room 1, then do incredibly precise jumps while ducking in room 2 so that you never slow down. These 2 strategies combined meant Karua was 15 ahead into World 8. This was his chance. But once again, World 8 stood between him and the world record. He needed...
No, just stick with Surf.
And that's exactly what he got. It made for a remarkable 1:11.26, a world record cut of 27 seconds. The run was solid through World 5, but a gold World 6, combined with the new strategies in World 7 and a clean World 8, pushed it over the top. Simply put,
alrighty, it's time for
world record. So amazing
for Claire.
For the next year, it would stand on top of the leaderboard unchallenged. But even with no competitors in sight,
We just gotta figure out what in the world
to push his time lower. In early 2015,
we're gonna do.
he came back to
Strategy.
the category, largely thanks to a few new strategies he could use to shave off some time. The biggest one was an overhaul of level 6-5. This is the infamous stage where you're supposed to build P-speed, then fly up with a Koopa shell to clear out the plant.
Does Dragon resist
Building P-speed is easy, but it took speedrunners
Poison?
time to pick up the Koopa shell. However, Karua began
Doesn't,
using the
okay.
6-5 despawn strat. Mario 3 only has 5
So maybe
available
Goheen.
sprite slots at a time. If a 6th sprite appears on screen, it'll simply be despawned right away. So, by running and not slowing down, then tail swiping a Buster Beetle, he'll stay on screen longer and take up a sprite slot. The next Beetle is in slot 2, the Koopa is in slot 3, and the
Tough
last
one,
Beetle
man.
is in slot 4. With 1 open slot remaining, only one of the 2 plants above can spawn in. So,
Her first
you can
Dragonair
just
has
fly up there
Thunderbolt.
and break the blocks without needing to use the Koopa shell. Using
Let me
this
look
new
up.
strategy and other
Dragonair
strategies,
has
Karua set 2 100%
70
records in March
speed.
2015.
Gyarados has
24, followed by a 111.02.
81. So
The
I think we
gap
lead with Gyarados here.
is now enormous. 54 seconds between him and second place. He had set 12 of the category's last 13 world records. He had held the record nearly non-stop since 2012. And now, his lead over anybody else in the world was nearly a full minute. And it was a good thing, because shortly after his 111.02, Karua obtained a working holiday visa, meaning he was going to be
Alright, here we
moving
go.
to Japan for the next year. And he
Here goes
wasn't
nothing.
going to be doing any speedrunning while gone. He had plans to come back to 100% runs upon his return, but for the next 12 months, he couldn't defend his title. But fortunately for Karua, his world record seemed to be in no danger. He left for Japan, still with no threats to the record in sight.
First Dragonair down.
Just 3 months into his absence, Karua's record was gone. The guy who did it was named I Love Mario. When Karua left,
Oh, let's go out to
4 seconds behind and didn't seem like a major threat. But a month later,
Wheezing.
the leaderboard looked a bit closer. And then it got a bit closer. And finally, on June 24th, 2015, he came through with this run. The first 110 in the game's history.
Max out speed. Wow.
I Love Mario
Can't believe
would go
that.
on to set many records in Mario 2, Mario 3,
Nice miss Thunder Wave.
Mario
That's
1 and
clutch.
2 in the years years to come, but this one was actually his very first Mario world record. While Karua's run didn't have any huge mistakes, it still had flaws that I Love Mario was able to take advantage of. His big time saves revolved around building P speed, namely in 4-1, World 4's second fort, and 5-5. In each of these stages, he managed to build P speed early through precise platforming to save a couple seconds. They added up to be a pretty nice time save. 7-1 clip was second try, and the world as a whole was quite clean. Credit to I Love Mario. He had swooped in and taken a world record that looked to be pretty safe.
Good.
Karua was shocked.
And we got the smoke screen off. Okay, awesome. That's huge.
But to be beaten after just 3 months away was definitely.
All right, let's go out to Machoke.
Set on not doing attempts until he came back. Over the next few months, the leaderboard would become a bit cluttered at the top, but I Love Mario's run remained the only 110. The new year arrived with no changes.
Oh no, King Trout speeds! Dang it, I should have looked at Machoke speed. It's fine.
Came back. His record had only lasted 3 months, but I Love Mario's world record lasted the remaining.
Let me check out Ampharos.
It was still the time.
Special defense.
So how would Karua?
It's pretty good actually.
Well, in the past, Karua tended to mix in other games with his 100% attempts. But this time around, he decided he was going to do an all-out grind.
Smoke screen's fine actually.
His goal wasn't just to get the record back. His
Go out to Miltank, which should outspeed.
Physically could. Because the time he was aiming for was a sub 110.
Fully paralyzed. And now we just go for pair flinches.
Karua's ultimate grind. To get there, Karua was gonna have to squeeze all the time out of 100% that he could. He had a couple ways to help.
Nice.
Part 1.
We beat Claire. That wasn't too bad. We lost Machoke, but I'm fine with that. I wasn't gonna use it anyway.
7 worlds, there's a Koopaling battle.
That was the only death.
Way to defeat
I will take it.
Is to use fireballs, but this can be quite difficult since the Koopalings have seemingly random patterns that can throw everything off. However, their patterns can actually be determined.
Should have an item.
It all depends on the time spent on the overworld map between the last level and the airship. Every few frames, the Koopaling's pattern changes. So if you spend the same amount of time navigating to the airship, the pattern will be the same and you can plan your fire kill ahead. This can still be problematic. In World 2, for instance, there are multiple spots you can be before the airship. So, Karua had to plan this out for each of the 7 worlds. What possible patterns he could get, and how they match with his overworld movement. It was painstaking, but it allowed him to be much more consistent with the fire kills. And Part 2. As always, there were new strategies in this grind.
Okay, so the level cap for the Elite Four is level 47.
The first was in 6-10. A strategy that allowed you to maintain P speed through the whole level
They are counter.
and hang on to Fire Mario.
Make sure I'm out front.
It goes without saying that this requires brutally tough platforming.
And there's a Dratini, nice, that's what we want.
A few seconds throughout World 6. The other new strategy was in 7-7. We've seen a lot of tricks in World 7.
Kind of an idiot. I should have gone out to defend him. I'll have to put it to sleep.
The worst of them all. The most brutal, random, difficult, and all-around awful strategy in the game. This is the 7-7 clip.
Okay, wait till I'm free before I switch out.
You need to land on the corner pixel of the pipe. That means there's both a vertical and horizontal.
No!
You need the correct vertical pixel, plus the correct horizontal pixel, and the correct subpixels for both the horizontal and vertical.
Dude! I just threw away a Dragonite.
And you get lucky with the subpixels to get the clip first try.
Oh, that's so annoying. I accidentally ran, dude. I was trying to switch out.
Literally a pipe dream. Past runners had tried for the 7-7.
Dude, this freaking sucks.
But not to much success. Karua avoided the trick over the years, But for this grind, the 17-second time save was too good to pass up. But every miss shaves a few seconds off of the time save, and by the 6th try, it's impossible to gain time. Karua only got it about 25% of the time by the 6th try, meaning 75% of runs were essentially killed by this one trick, an hour into the run. It's absolutely brutal. World 7 as a whole
We need to grind
You've got the 7-1
so that it can evolve. I literally want to evolve this magic card purely for HM reasons.
But it's what Karua had to do if he wanted this grind to be a success. It all had to come together if Karua was going to pull this off. After many weeks of practice, in the summer of 2016, Karua got to work. On July 6th, Karua was on a solid run through World 3. He got great Hammer Brother movements.
Dude, I'm so freaking upset about that, dude. I just threw away Dragonite, just like that, for no reason, other than pure accident, bro. That's so annoying.
Times over the past few weeks. But the world got off to a good start. Second try 7-1 clip. The next few levels were clean as well, including the shell throw in 7-5. And then he arrived at 7-7. This just got real. Although he lost some time later in the world, first try 7-7 was enough for a gold split. But there was still World 8. We've seen Karua struggle here before. And sure enough, in 8-1, he lost P-Speed to lose a few seconds. But he still closed it out for a 1:10.52. For the first time in over a year, Karua was the 100% record holder. He was officially back. That was the game plan to get his goal. Take a lottery ticket into World 7, pray the ticket hits to get all the clips required, then hold it together in World 8. Karua had 23 seconds to go. This is what he did over the following weeks.
I just did all that just so I can have an HM1. Dude, I'm so freaking mad at myself, dude. I can't believe I just threw away a Dragonite just like that for no reason. It wasn't on purpose, obviously, but
Karua had a remarkable improvement, just 5 seconds away from his goal. And finally, he had a run with a clean World 8. He saved 6 seconds in that world alone, which took the run into the 1:10.30s. There was still room to shave a few seconds off. He had lost fire in 4-1 and took a few tries to do the clips in World 7. But overall, it was a really clean run. There just wasn't much time left to save. With 3 world records in July, Karua was flying high. These 2 weeks had been among the most fruitful in his entire speedrunning career. So, he decided to take a short but well-deserved break. He returned in August and started doing more runs, needing just 1 more record to achieve his goal. But all of a sudden, it's like Karua ran into a wall. He wasn't seeing any more improvements. He was getting bad Hammer Brother movements, no clips in World 7, all of a sudden nothing was working. And time started to pass. September came around, then October, and the record stayed at 1:10.34. Sometimes in speedrunning, we set goals that are too lofty. It's much easier to imagine a perfect
oh, I didn't have Venomoth.
Play it, and it seems that's what Karua had done. He had been a 100% record holder for 4 years, and knew what the culmination of all his skills could be. That would be a sub 110.30. But 3 months after his 110.34, despite a massive effort, Karua hadn't made any progress. 5 seconds away had to be good enough. This was the end of the road for Karua. And then came November 9th, 2016, when maybe the craziest run in Mario 3 history took place. Do you remember anything about the attempt session leading up to it, or was it just like any normal day?
Honestly, I don't remember anything in particular about it. Yeah, the start was pretty standard, I would say. The RNG was actually bad.
Of course, I missed.
Slightly behind, but World 1 and World 2, as long as you're within 2 or 3 seconds, it's not really gonna make a huge difference. So in the end, getting out of World 3, the pace was acceptable. Nothing special, but nothing bad. The run really started picking up at World 4.
I think this counts as an encounter. Yeah.
Every spot
Yeah, no, this has to count as an encounter.
First and the second fort, so everything went right.
4 worlds into the run, Karua was 6 seconds ahead, putting him on.
Wow, I really have nothing good for you.
30. But there was still a long way to go.
I don't know why in the world I picked Amphyros.
At that point, I wasn't too excited about the run. In the entire run, World 5 is the one with the most RNG. The difference between good and bad RNG for the hammer bro movement is just insane. So I got a really low number of movements, and I just nailed every single stage. Like, the world was virtually perfect. World 6 is in my opinion the second hardest world after
Slash, alright.
It's more about the execution for World 6, and it's
wait, no, I already.
really intense.
No, I'm thinking of red and blue.
Stages are difficult.
And no, I don't have a Sand Slash.
Like World 5, execution was on top in every single stage. I don't think I missed a single thing I went for in World 6. I think it was my best pace by 5 seconds entering World 7. So yeah, I was definitely feeling the pressure.
This was the best chance Karua had ever had to get a sub 110.30. But he started off with a first try 7-1.
Getting 7-1 first try, you're always happy, but at the same time, I know 7-7 is where it's gonna be decided. So I was happy, but I was just waiting for 7-7 really.
And finally, Karua arrived at 7-7. On the pace of his life, he just had to get this eventually, and he'd have a golden opportunity.
I think my heart rate rised quite a lot after getting 7-7 first try. Like, wow, this is actually happening. Getting the 7-9 zip was a bonus, just the cherry on top.
We had been looking at the wrong line all along. We're not talking about a sub 110.30 anymore. Unbelievably, Karua was moments away from getting the world's first 109.
And it's weird because on one hand you're like, did I misjudge my goal? Or is it just that special? And I think it was just that special. That run it really was special.
But we had all seen Karua's struggles in World 8 before. And now, with more on the line than ever before, he had to get a good World 8.
Interestingly, I wasn't feeling really pressured by World 8, even though I failed before. Despite that, I was very confident because I was playing well, so I wasn't really feeling much pressure in that regard, I think.
He kept going, level by level, getting closer to the 109.
And then, yeah, 8-1 happened. The truth is, I was actually not focused enough because I remember I was thinking ahead. I was thinking about a strat I was considering doing in the fort 2 stages later, and I pressed jump too early and didn't jump. And yeah, we saw the results. I didn't know if I could even finish the run because I was so upset at myself. And I ended up getting a hit in 8-2 because of it. I just didn't care at that point. I actually knew I would probably get the record if I didn't do anything incredibly stupid afterwards. So I expected to maybe get a record by, I don't know, 5-6 seconds or something. Instead, I'm absolutely crushing my goal despite what happened. So I had really conflicted emotions about it. At the time I was really upset, but that run was so special that I still became quite happy about it quite quickly.
What a bizarre speedrun. Karua had accomplished his goal. In fact, he had crushed it, yet it felt so unfulfilling. He was in a position to take the record years ahead of its time, but fell short at the last minute.
You know, after the dust had settled, did you have any thoughts about trying to lower the time further, or did you know that you were done?
I briefly considered continuing and getting another PB, but it would still be way worse, relatively speaking, compared to what that run could have been. So yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I think that was illegal.
That
That's an
run
illegal
was
one.
6.5 years
So you can also find sand slash here. So
hasn't done a 100% run since, and he stopped speedrunning as a whole in 2017. But my goodness, did he go out on top. This was the leaderboard the day Karua set the 1:10.19. This was the leaderboard a year later. The gap had closed by just 2 seconds. There's Mega Man 2 record holder Elonesia in second place. Let's move another year forward. Runners were starting to get into the 110s now, but still, Karua's record was comfortably on top. At this point, we're in late 2018, and these runners with 110s, Louis, Elonesia, Horstad, they were all excellent Mario 3 players, but none of their runs had world record potential. Even 2 full years later, none of these guys could catch up to Karua. It seemed like the 1:10.19 was destined to stay on top. There seemed to be no hope. Wait a minute.
keyword
Mitch had
seemed
been a
to be
100% record holder before, back in 2014. Since then, he had focused hard on Warpless, being ahead of Karua there for most of the last 4 years. If any runner in the top 10 had a shot of beating the 1:10.19, it would be Mitch. He had limited interest in 100% over the years, but in late 2018, he decided to give it another shot. His PB was a mid-111, and he very quickly rose up the leaderboard. By the end of November, he was in second place, 12 seconds behind Karua. He'd then achieve a 1:10.29, and later a 1:10.26. These runs were notable because they both had a chance at the world record entering World 7, but he couldn't get the first try clips that were in the 1:10.19. Even with the 20-second time loss in World 8, Karua's world record was so tough to go against. There was just no margin for error in the first 7 worlds. 2019 came around, and Mitch was still 7 seconds behind Karua's world record. On January 4th, Mitch got on a run roughly even with Karua's record entering World 3. He'd then proceed to lose time in each of the following 5 worlds. He lost Fire in 4-4 and lost P-Speed in 6-10. He missed 7-9 clip and took 2 tries to get 7-7. But entering World 8, Mitch was actually going to have a shot at this, because he kept it close. Losing time against Karua's record was expected. Mitch was 16 seconds behind, and could make that time up in World 8. But of course, he had to avoid a critical mistake.
We did it. Nice. Nice.
For the first time in 5 years, the 100% record belonged to Mitch. He didn't use many new strategies either. He simply let his skills from the past few years take him past Karua. Overall, it was an extremely balanced run, with solid Hammer Brother RNG and no bad worlds. And most importantly, after a 2-year reign at the top, the 110-19 was no longer the time to beat. Mitch and Karua were synonymous with Mario 3 speedrunning. For years, when you looked at the Warpless or 100% leaderboards, their names were always in the top 2 spots, and now was no exception. But who's in 3rd place? That would be Louis, with a 110.35. He had been sneaking up in the background ever since cutting the 111. While Mitch was setting the record with a 110.14, Louis remained only 20 seconds behind, easily the top active runner behind Mitch. And when Mitch stepped aside from 100% after setting the record, it was Louis' time to shine. In July 2019, after a steady series of PB improvements, Louis broke through with a 110.08, taking the top spot by 6 full seconds. This was the first time in 4 years that neither Mitch nor Karua set the 100% record. And there's one key trick that Louis was able to use to his advantage: 7-1 subpixel manipulation. To get the 7-1 clip, your subpixel value needs to be correct. This value can range anywhere from 0 to 15, and normally it's impossible to pick your value. But there's a few rules you can use to help. Rule 1. Tapping left or right for 1 frame will usually decrease or increase it by 1 value, while tapping it for 2 frames will usually move it by 4 values. Rule 2. Having a subpixel value between 0 and 6 means the duck clip will work in 7-1. And Rule 3. When wrapping around from subpixel 15 to 0, Mario visually moves forward. After the World 6 Koopa fight, you have a brief window where you can set up your subpixels for the next level, which is 7-1. So, by quickly tapping right and stopping when you see Mario visually move, you'll usually stop between a value of 0 and 6. This makes the 7-1 clip much easier to hit on the first try as long as you do the inputs correctly, which is exactly what Louis was able to do in his run. So, 110.08 was the record. It had been 3 years since Karua's 110.19, and despite the run advancing quite a bit since then, nobody could match that run's potential. The 109 sat just out of reach. Louis would hold on to the record for the next few months, but by late 2019, the desire to get under 110 picked up. Enough was enough, and the race for the first 109 was officially on. Mitch was the favorite to get it, given his resume of past Mario 3 records. But runners like Louis and I Love Mario were close, and several other runners had times in the 110s as well. If any of these guys were actively running the game, they had a chance at this too. There was some clear time to save over Louis' record. There were a few stages where he missed P-Speed, he got some rough Hammer Brother luck in World 5, and missed the Koopa Fire kill in World 6. So the question was, who would clean all that up first? Well, in November 2019, Mitch got on a super fast run. The first 3 worlds were all beautiful, and he saved time in World 4 by not missing P-Speed in the second fort. He got better Hammer Brother luck in World 5 to save a few seconds, and got the World 6 Koopa Fire kill. The stars had aligned. Mitch was 13 seconds ahead going into World 7, but it was time for the clips.
I went back to my roots, man, thank God. RareMonkey.
He matched Louis' first try clips. Here we are again. 109 pace into World 8. Mitch needed one more clean world, and this would be it.
What? Who does that? Get it together! No way, dude. When do I mess up that level? I think I've lost like too much time at this point.
Well, it was still a world record, but once again, the 109 had been lost to World 8, 4 seconds away from the goal. Since he'd gotten the record back, Mitch stopped running 100% after this, leaving the door open to others to get the 109. But 6 months later, barely anything had changed. Mitch was on top, Louis was in second, and pretty much the entire top 10 was the same. One exception. New to the top 10 was MYAAA, who was in 6th place with a 1:10.32. Half a minute from the record, not being in the top 5, surely MYAAA wasn't going to be the guy to get this, right? On May 11th, MYAAA got on a run that had a slight mishap with the Hammer Brother fight in World 3. He also got slow Hammer Brother movements in World 4 and missed P-speed in the second fort. After a fantastic World 5 and a solid World 6, he was just a few seconds behind the record, but he was well ahead of his personal best. And the clips in World 7... MYAAA was on the run of his life. Everything was working. Was he actually about to do this? Go straight from 6th to 1st place? Once again, just one world separated him from the first 109.
It's over.
How did this keep happening? He lost 18 seconds in World 8.
No.
And again,
Ooh.
the first 109
Thought for sure I was gonna lose.
slipped away.
Empress there.
It was enough for MYAAA to move up to 3rd place, but knowing what this run could have been was pretty crushing. By late 2020, nearly 4 years had passed since Karua's run. Still no 109. There had certainly been enough chances, but nobody could quite convert. Well, in September 2020, another runner began climbing up the leaderboard.
Okay, we made it to the Elite Four. Okay.
He took his PB under 110.20
Now,
and then into 3rd
we gotta
place. Maybe he could be the one to
figure out what team we want to use.
In
So
the
there's a
past,
psychic type
Scooby was pretty
Dirk
much
up
constantly in the top
rocks
10,
us fighting
but had never threatened
poison
the world record. Yet in late 2020,
miscellaneous, to be completely
began a
honest,
steady
but I guess
march
you could
of
say
PB
dark.
improvements,
And then
culminating
dragon.
with this run on October 16th. Chikubi got fantastic Hammer Brother luck in the middle worlds. Great patterns, quick movements.
So we got
pretty much the best case scenario, and it all added up to an incredible
Icy wind.
11-second lead over the world record after World 5. The best pace anyone
Right, we have
has
Ice Punch.
ever been on. He started bleeding time in
Oh,
World
can learn
6
Ice
with a
Punch.
mid star grab, late P speed in 6-4, and a movement of 4. And 7-7 clip was
Okay, so let's
full
pause at you
try,
because we're obviously not
which
going to
is
use
good, but not
Psychic
great.
Gyarados here.
But despite
Okay,
all
let's
that,
look at each Pokemon individually. Hold on. First of all, you got to be released because you're illegal.
Once again, with a really good
Okay,
world,
so
he
not
could
great against
get
Psychic.
109.
Meh, meh.
Guess what?
No, and
Chikubi played
eh.
an excellent World 8. His only mistake was a
I was saying
very
slash.
small one in
I'm gonna
Bowser's
guess it's
Castle.
just a no go. It's not
He
good. No,
didn't get the
no.
109 because
No.
he got pulled in by all
Totodile might be good,
3
actually.
runs.
For Lance and
Each hand
stuff
has
too.
a 50-50 chance of pulling you in, which loses a second and a half over manually selecting the level. The odds of being
No, I don't
pulled
think
in
I
by all
ever
3
thought about it. I
hands
don't really think
is
I
just
want to use
1
Espeon.
in 8. If he was pulled in by 1 hand or fewer, this would have been the one.
No.
Instead, He had to settle for a 110.02. A world record, yes. But this
I mean, maybe I do want to take Espeon just because of Koga.
eluded everyone.
Koga can be really annoying sometimes, actually.
So
I'd search for Espeon, not Koga.
A few seconds away. With a faster strategy or two, it could push them over.
Okay, so level cap is level 47, so I could get Psychic
Mitch came back to the 100% grind.
on Espeon.
Sure enough, he had a few new strategies to help. And thankfully,
Yeah, okay, I think we'll take Espeon.
the toughest world in the game. For 7-1, he had a new
What's
subpixel
emulation
manipulation set up for a standing jump, which was just a little bit easier than the duck jump. In 7-2, he had a new strategy he had adopted from the TAS.
Okay, are you gonna be good? You could be good against Will.
Forward and intentionally take damage, then just barely build P-speed.
You could be, yeah, no, I think we should no, we definitely want to keep Ampros, okay. You want to keep Gyarados? We're gonna have Totodile on our team, or for Alligator, I mean, probably. So,
with a P-wing and a star, then do a perfect jump into the corner of the pipe. You're practically guaranteed to have the correct subpixels to clip.
Maybe. We definitely want Miltank. Wheezing, probably not. You're just not that good.
Saves more than 6 seconds if done correctly, which is huge. Add that to Fast 7-2's time save, and suddenly Mitch had a lot
Okay, I think our
wiggle room.
final team is going to be Ampharos, Gyarados, Miltank, Crobat, Espeon, and Feraligatr.
He had a great run going. 2 seconds behind the record after.
I think that's solid.
Mitch knew he had time to save coming up with the new strategies.
Move.
First
Thank you.
try 7-1, fast 7-2, the clip in 7-5, and second try 7-7. Just like that, Mitch was 5 seconds ahead, putting him on pace for a 109.57.
Alright, yeah, that's fine.
Here we go again. World 8 stood
Do
between
we want to give the experience share
the world's first 109.
to Totodile here?
That's it. Probably cost me the sub 110. That's it. It didn't give it to me. Unbelievable. It's over. Come on, man! Come on, dude.
How did this keep happening? It was another record, but yet another failed 109. Karua's run 4 years ago set the trend, and ever since then, World 8 was like a shield to the 109. Mitch took damage, he missed P-speed, he failed a clip. It just seemed impossible to get a good World 8 on a good pace. Mitch, Jacoby, MYAAA, Karua, some of the best players in the world had tried and failed. The 109 just wasn't happening. Did somebody else need to step up to get it done? Well, a few more months passed and 2021 came around. Early that year, Mitch decided to give the 100% grind one more try. He was 2 seconds away and had far more time than that to save in World 8 alone. He could do this. And on February 7th, 2021, Mitch had this run. It bled time early. He got worse luck in World 2 and made a mistake in World 4's first fort. He also had a time loss in 5-2 and had to travel far to fight the Hammer Brothers. As such, he was far behind entering World 6, but he cleaned up some small mistakes there and had an excellent World 7. This looks familiar. Mitch was a bit behind, but had several seconds to save coming up. Just once, World 8 had to be clean. This had to be the time to do it.
Surprised, right? I'm not surprised. The one level with the bad RNG.
It happened again. Another time loss in World 8. Was the 109 just cursed to never exist? All Mitch could do now was finish out the run and see what time he got. In 2016, Karua paved the path. In 2020, MYAAA and Shikubi provided hope. And in 2021, Mitch made it a reality. It wasn't a perfect run, but aside from taking damage, which cost a couple seconds, Mitch finally had a great World 8. The whole community could take a breather. The 109 was real. But the breather didn't last very long. Just a month and a half later, Mitch lost his world record. And the runner to take it was MYAAA, the same guy who missed the first 109 months earlier thanks to a bit of a meltdown in World 8. But this time, there was no meltdown. He got a 109.58, beating Mitch by frames. MYAAA ended up missing some of the toughest P-speed strategies that Mitch got. 4-5 and 5-1 in particular are two of the toughest spots in the run to get P-speed. Ultimately, MYAAA wasn't able to get either of them. Instead, he aimed to clean up mistakes that Mitch had made, particularly in World 6. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. MYAAA bled a bit of time through World 5, but had a nearly mistake-free World 6, despite not getting early P-speed in 6-4. Even though he lost time in both 7-1 and 7-2, he left himself just enough room to snag the record.
I don't know, but 109, yes! Yatta!
So, here we are. It's mid-2021. The 109 had been accomplished. Mitch was the first to get it, but MYAAA had finally gotten the record he'd been looking for so long. Everyone was happy. What more was there to do? Well, people have a natural tendency to keep pushing the limits. If their goals have been accomplished, they set new ones. Maybe just to add one more chapter to a storied history. Or maybe to see what the human limits are. It was for all these reasons and more that in July 2021, Mitch returned to do one final grind of Mario 3 100%.
My goal time in mind after MYAAA beat my run was just to get it back. In Mario 3, every time you break a boundary, massive amounts of pressure is lifted off of your chest.
Dear Lord.
What an insane World 2! I got off-screen wand grab, and it's a trick where you can jump off the wall and grab the wand at the top of the screen, and once you do that, you don't have to screen wrap down, and it saves about 4 seconds. You kind of tighten up a little bit after off-screen wand grab. It gets serious when you get it. World 3, one of the biggest ones is the runaway bro, and what that means is one of the Hammer brothers that you want to fight as early as possible, right, because you want them to stop moving, he moves right across level 6. And if he does that, every level you beat until you get to level 6 or past level 6, he's going to keep moving. So after getting off-screen wand grab and then that happened to me, it's a real gut punch right there, because I mean that's a solid like anywhere between 5 to even 9 seconds depending on how far he goes. World 4 just started to work really clean. I don't think I got a massive amount of Hammer Brother movements, and then I got another off-screen wand grab, so that just completely changed the route again. I mean, it's just a bag of emotions. So we come into World 6 and I'm playing great, but then I'm just not keeping the tight P-speed strategies that I should be. 6-3 didn't work, 6-4 also didn't work, and I was getting some pretty big Hammer Brother movements. Then I missed one of the newer installments of strategies in 7.5 by using a P-Wing and a star. So right there with 7.1 and 7.5 was like 10 seconds lost already. I was too far behind on my run, so I had to kind of switch up what I was doing, and that involved doing the clips in 7.9, which there's 4 of them. Odds of you getting them, you know, all first try are very small, but they just save enough time that if you go for them and get them all, you might be able to save the run. Now the issue with that is that if you get all 4 of them, there's nowhere to get your fire flowers. So I had to change up my routing on the fly and go for the hammer suit strategy, which is pretty close to the same for the end part of World 7. So in 7.9, going for the clips, I got 2-1, 2-1, and what that means is that with the 4 clips, 2 for the first one took me 2 tries, 1 was first try, the 3rd clip was 2nd try, and the 4th clip was 1 try. Yeah, so we're approaching World 8, and we just had to do this on the fly hammer suit. You know, don't overextend it, just try and get the strats that you know. And so 8.1 and 8.2 and 8.4 went pretty smooth. I didn't have any massive mistakes that cost me a whole lot of time. And then we just clutched out Bowser's Castle.
Yes! What? No way! No way!
It felt great to get the world record back from MYAAA and to know that I was able to come and bring it back and get a time that, you know, better represents my ability. It felt really good. After getting the record back with a run like that, I mean, I had Runaway Bro in World 3. I mean, that's such a massive time loss. And I was feeling very consistent, so I just didn't want to stop there. I wanted to keep going and see if I can get that free World 3 time save and maybe a couple more off-screen wand grabs, see what happens. In World 2, I didn't get the off-screen wand grab, so I automatically lose 4 seconds. We all know that I got the Runaway Bro, and that is a big time save if I don't get it, and luckily enough, I didn't get that. We came and clutched out a World 1, 2, and 3 at pretty much being on pace with the world record. Nothing crazy. World 4 is a great example of soul crushing, and then I got a movement of 4 and a movement of 6, and it really pushes you down because World 4 has got a lot of hard strategies. Keep the run going. I have time to save in World 6. Yeah, let's just keep going. So World 6 actually came out pretty smooth. I didn't have any big mistakes. I started World 7 being behind by about 2.5 seconds or something. I need to clutch out 7.1 first try, which I did, which was really good. 7.2 went well. 7.5 though is another level with big time save. I didn't get the clip in the previous world record, and I do nail it, which is really good. So at that moment right there, I know, okay, this run is real now. We nailed 7.7. We got that 3rd try, which is the same, so we didn't lose any time. And then we just finished off World 7 normally with Fire Flower, which brought me in somewhere around -7 seconds compared to the world record. So it was serious at that point. With this run, I was finally able to execute some new P-speed strategies in World 8 in the hand levels, where you use a star and 8 trap 1, and you turn back and you get like P-speed. I was able to do that in this run, and then I got a P-speed strategy in hand trap 2, which is another about a second time save. Being able to finally clutch out a semi-decent World 7, clips worked, 7.7, 3rd try, that's everything you would ask for in a World 7. So I felt really good about this run, so I was really happy with it.
Did your goals shift at all after getting the 52, or were you like, let me just keep going and see what time I can get?
So my answer is I have no idea why I kept going. So it was a normal day. I was just doing my normal runs, and World 1 went really well. And World 2, I got some pretty decent RNG, and the run was looking good, and then all of a sudden I got an off-screen wand grab. And that is the best way to start your 100% runs, off-screen wand grab. And I started to get all movements of 1 in World 3, and I was like, is this actually going to be like the God World 3 run? Did the normal strats, banked on some Hammer Brother RNG, and World 3 cleaned up really nicely. World 4 normally ends a lot of 100% runs, a lot of weird movements, but luckily for me, I ended up being 0.08 off my gold, so absolutely everything that happened in World 4 was what I wanted to happen. I had an amazing World 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is incredibly rare in 100%. I opened up World 5 with a movement of 4.
Yup. Right away, first movement, a movement of 4.
And then another movement of 4.
2 movements of 4 in a row. Let's go, baby.
And then another movement of 4.
We got another one. 3 movements of 4 in a row. What a surprise.
And I got another movement of 4.
4 movements in a row, baby. Let's go.
So the rest of World 5 went really well. For the most part in World 5, I did manage to successfully do all the piece beat strategies that I want to do. World 6, the Hammer Brothers were really nice to me, and I didn't make any other slip-ups, so I actually came out of World 6 ahead. Normally, I'm pretty nervous when I'm ahead of the world record going to World 7. I had standard nervous, but this wasn't anything crazy special at the moment. So the first half of World 7 went really, really well. 7-1 first try, and I got fast 7-2. 7-5, though, went beautifully. I managed to get the star, the P-wing, get that clip perfectly, and I was able to get a good tail swipe, clean under, keep all my speed. Because at first I was saying, you know, when I enter World 7, it's not like anything special, but World 7 is starting to make everything that happened before that amazing. So I'm very nervous at this point. After getting 7-1 and 7-5, I am really, really nervous. I was so like blown away that I actually nailed it first try on a run like that. I just did not believe that I got it first try. I couldn't believe it. You rarely ever maximize your gameplay with 7-7 perfectly. As soon as I nailed 7-7, I was extremely nervous, and I had to go into 7-9, and we ended up clutching 7-9 with an actual time save. We were able to clutch out the Fortress and clutch out the Piranha Plant stage. It was by far the best World 7 I've ever had, alongside the best run I've ever had, as you can tell. But it was insane. It was insane. So after a World 7 like that and a run like that, going into World 8, I was extremely nervous. There's so many little things that I'm on this run that is just absolutely insane. After all those thoughts running through my head, we approach hand stage 1, and I actually nailed it with the start. 8-1 worked out okay. 8-2, I was surprised worked out okay. One of the things to note with Bowser's Castle is that the 3 hardest things I would say in the level is the statue room at the end, getting P speed there, the 1-up flip, and then the last one is the duck jump at the very end on the donuts. Once you get past the donut spot, you can say to yourself, oh my god, I actually did it. However, Bowser does have one pattern where he can jump and shoot the fireball at the same time. And when he does that, the fireball will be shot where you're standing. You can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do. I'm so shaky.
Oh, holy! Whoa, what? No way! No way! Oh my god, I can't even...
It ended up being my most impressive run that perfectly represented my abilities as a gamer, which never happens in speedrunning. Everyone in speedrunning is always trying to chase their potential, and you never hit it. It is a run where I don't ever have to go back for it again, but I'm going to. But I don't have to, which is really cool.
Nearly 2 years have passed since this run, and it's remained on top without any close calls. To this day, there are runners actively trying to beat it, including Mitch himself. As incredible as it is, one day this record too will fall, just like all the ones that came before it. This has been the history of Mario 300% world records. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to be notified when I upload a new video, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks.
You're welcome. Bruh. I'm not gonna mess with Earthring or Graveler. At least not right now. Don't want to take any unnecessary risks.
If you've ever tried playing Halo 2 on Legendary difficulty, you know that it's one of gaming's most brutal challenges. It goes way beyond the hardest setting of most games. Enemies are stronger, they're more plentiful, and they kill you almost instantly. Beating Halo 2 on Legendary is a serious achievement. But one group of gamers takes it a step further. They strive to beat Halo 2 Legendary as fast as physically possible. And through thousands of collective hours from the game's best players, they've taken the record to unimaginable levels. This is the history of Halo 2 world records.
Well, I don't want to mess with Earthring.
And now a word from this video's sponsor, Xbox Game Pass. Valheim is now available to play on Xbox with Game Pass, and to celebrate, they're hosting a new speedrun competition, and you can participate right now. Here are the rules. The goal is to kill a troll as fast as possible. Timing starts when the character takes their first step, and ends on the frame the troll dies. It must be on a new game with a new Viking, using the World Seed Game Pass, and it must be a solo run. All exploits and glitches are banned. The fastest 3 submissions will receive special rewards blessed by Odin himself. 1 of 3 custom controllers. To participate, upload a video of your run to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. The title must include #GamePassValheim Speedrun, and the video must be from your Xbox. The deadline is 5:59 p.m. Pacific Time on May 27th. See if you can enshrine yourself in speedrunning history. Best of luck. Game Pass has hundreds of high-quality games like Valheim available on release day. Discover your next favorite game with Xbox Game Pass. Halo 2 has had a thriving speedrun scene ever since its release in 2004. Players competed on both individual levels and the full game on each of the 4 difficulty modes. While all these records were lowered over time, the most prestigious one was the full game Legendary speedrun, thanks to its incredible difficulty.
Our team is grinding for the Elite Four. Oh my gosh.
GDQ events and videos were
Oh, it all comes down to this, baby.
Very
Well, more or less all of it, because we're gonna do post game.
Record timeline is another story. From 2004 through 2014,
all right, let's go through our TMs real quick.
The legendary world record was near continuously held by one player, Mr. Monopoly. Monopoly became synonymous with Halo speedruns, holding records and playing the game at live events. But the timeline of the world record itself isn't all that interesting. Monopoly got the Halo 2 record in 2006 and remained dominant for the next 8 years. However, in June 2014,
what would we use Iron Tail for? Only Bruno, really. Yeah, so that could be that useful. Dragon Breath.
A compilation of all the main
might be
Halo games.
Have on Gyarados, actually.
To celebrate Halo 2's 10th anniversary,
Forget,
remaster it as Halo 2 Anniversary.
probably buying, I guess.
Graphical upgrades and a few other changes.
Or Rain Dance.
And it just so happened
Yeah, I don't see myself using
that
Rain Dance
their
for video.
development team were speedrun fans. Big enough fans.
We got Earthquake
that they
here,
flew out
which
Goat
we either
Run
want
and
to teach the
Monopoly.
Miltank or
Speedrunners for the first two Halo
or Alligator.
games
Probably, I
to
think I
help
want to probably
play
teach
test the games a few months before their
Miltank.
release. They spent about 20 hours playtesting, then sat down with 343's franchise writer to name achievements after top Halo speedrunners. And fittingly, the achievement for beating Halo 2 Legendary quickly enough
Tough one.
monopolized. It's clear that from the get-go, 343
What is
designed Halo the Master Chief Collection with speed
Alligator's current moveset?
While most of the games included were essentially identical to their original release, Halo 2 Anniversary was sufficiently different that it became its
No,
own
let's teach it to
speedrun
Miltank.
category. So, right at the game's release in November 2014, players
Over
began
defense curl.
running Halo 2 Anniversary.
We have a turn here.
Monopoly and a
Everyone can learn.
Lucky Fan 48
Who's going to benefit the most from it?
record back
So,
in the first few days.
Gyarados and
But the first
Amphylos
run
are
we're
out,
going to look
because
at
they're not
came
the
a few
greatest.
weeks later.
Halo
2 Legendary.
Thud's out because he's their special attacker.
2 hours and 17
So that leaves us
minutes.
with Crobat,
None other than Mr.
Miltank, and
First
Alligator.
off, Monopoly went into this run expecting
Oh, I think
a lot. It's just not realistic to have a
for Alligator has better attack, doesn't it?
unless you're going slowly and being extremely
Than
careful.
Crobat.
Fortunately, there are checkpoints
Let me
throughout
just double
each
check.
level, so when you die, you can quickly
105, and then Crobat is I think 95.
But Monopoly didn't have to worry about
90,
dying too
yeah.
much in the first level,
And Pilk, you already have normal type moves.
which is essentially
We're gonna
just
teach
gonna
it
have
to
a
King
cutscene
K. Rool.
that serves as a tutorial. Given the
Over
length of the
slash.
game, we won't talk about every level
We
in
have Dig
depth
here.
right now, but
No.
Cairo Station
Shadow
was
Ball.
the first real level, and Monopoly did his best to move
Pilk can
quickly
learn
and
it.
ignore as many
There's not really any
enemies as
ghost
possible.
types though.
When he had to fight them, he
to
tried
deal
to
with.
clear out the elites quickly with an
Oh, but there is
overcharged
psychic type
shot,
trainer.
then a headshot from the battle rifle. He also strafed to try and avoid being shot, but still had
Yeah.
to take cover at times, and was careful to avoid
Yeah,
being too aggressive. Next up was
I don't know, Stomp still might be
which
good
has
to
a
have though.
famous intended trick from the developers. By doing
The
a
only other
series
Pokemon
of
that can learn it
attacks
is
where you
Espeon, and that would be
grenade
pointless
behind
because
the
you're
top to get
a
boost
special attacker.
upwards. You can
Let's go
get
on this
on
gen.
top of the buildings and make it out of bounds. This lets you skip fighting
Oh,
long
boy.
line of enemies on the ground. The second half of the stage
It's a
involved
tough one,
lot
man.
of
I don't
fighting,
know.
And Monopoly switched to the Warthog since the Marines soak up
The
a
flinch
lot
could
of
come in so
damage and let you
so
live longer.
clutch.
Eventually, Monopoly arrived at the Oracle. This is one
No,
of
I
the
just
longest
stomped.
levels in the run, with wave after wave of enemies to fight through. But he had tricks to help. On the elevator,
It has a
you're
what
normally
percent?
supposed to
30% chance.
slowly
Yeah, that's
ride
like
all the
so.
way
That's
down.
like
But if you wait
huge.
for a death box to despawn, you can fall
It's
off the
huge.
edge and land on the precise spot you need to continue the level. The rest of the level was a lot of
Once I
clearing
teach
out
it-
enemies,
Once I get past the
and
psychic type
5
trainer,
deaths to go
it's
along
pretty
with
much
it.
pointless.
Delta Halo
Um,
is one of the most broken levels.
What
in
is
the
there?
game. He
What's
started
gonna
by
be my
jumping
strategy
off
for the
the
psychic type
inside
trainer?
on top, then hitting a trigger that allowed him to progress.
I don't
and
really
continue
have
on
like a
top of the
great
hill.
strategy.
He then got in a ghost and was supposed to
Can maybe
activate a bridge to get
do-
across this gap. But instead, he did this.
Just spam return and bite and stuff.
It turns out a grenade is strong enough to boost vehicles as well, and Monopoly was able to save half of it. The next
is such a
level
hard
is called
decision.
Regret, and it features one of the biggest tricks in the run, early gondola. The intended route at the start is to work
I
your
think
way
we
around
should
structured
teach Edible.
platforms, then land on the
Just to
middle
ensure we do
platform,
better against Will.
which acts
Then
as
again,
a
Will's lower
7
level.
level away.
So never mind.
You
Never mind. We
can't
won't learn it.
ride yet. After killing all
I shouldn't
the
be too worried about
enemies,
Will.
Another
We got Mudslap here. Honestly, teach it to Espeon.
You can hop on and ride it to progress through the level.
Just a better version of Sand
It would
Attack.
save a lot of time if you could just ride on that
We got
initial
Thunder
gondola
Punch.
that goes
You can
away.
learn it, but you're a physical
But as
attacker.
soon
So.
as you get near it,
We also got
it's
Rest
gone.
here. And
That's
Attract
where
should be
early
learnable by everyone.
comes into play. Monopoly used a careful jumping route to go straight to the gondola. including a slide jump, where you use the extra momentum from a slide to extend your jump across a
A little
gap.
risky. No,
He
why
then
not?
left the
Let's have
gondola
Fury
to
Cutter
hit the
here.
edge of
I
the
think Rickroll
trigger
can
on
learn
the
it, but
platform, then quickly got back on the gondola just before it pulled away.
hey,
He had to avoid dying on
they
the
already
way
have
from
Surf.
enemies that
Okay, let's look at
spawned,
Strength.
but once he was in the clear,
You don't need
he
it.
saved 2.5
You have
minutes
Return. You don't
without
need
having
it.
to wait for the second
Maybe
one.
teach it to Amphros.
Now, he did die 6 times
Just for
throughout the
coverage, I
level,
guess.
but using early gondola at the start was able to make up for most of that.
Alright.
A few levels
The last thing we
later,
really have to
Great
do is
Mine,
just make
the
sure that
longest and most notorious level in the run. To get an idea of what I mean,
make sure that
this
for
is how the
Alligator
level ends on Legendary.
has max friendship
Wow.
for return.
To clarify, Monopoly knew this was coming. Even so, he struggled to take cover in time.
I'm sorry.
It's a good representation of the rest of the level. There are enemies everywhere, and Monopoly had to strike a balance between keeping moving and trying to stay alive. Gravemind ended up taking him over 26 minutes, and he died 34 times. He did have some tricks to help out, like jumping into a sloped rock so he could go out of bounds and walk above long hallways. This helped him avoid fighting certain enemies. Monopoly also used a trick called Corridor Deload. During reinforcement battles, he stood in precise spots between waves to fool the game into thinking he was out of bounds, so that enemies didn't detect him and never spawned in. But even with tricks like this to help, he was overmatched. He died all throughout Gravemind, but eventually he did make it through. After a couple shorter levels in Uprising and High Charity, Monopoly arrived at the Great Journey, Halo 2's final level. He was able to despawn the Wraiths by simply driving away from them and hitting a checkpoint, and then went inside with the Ghost. He died several times while trying to navigate through, then got in the Banshee to wait and enter the final section of the level. Once inside, he took out the enemies, took out the final boss, and the run was complete. Monopoly died 66 times throughout the game's 14 levels, with more than half of those coming in Gravemind alone. That's Halo 2 on Legendary for you. But to be fair, Monopoly was at a disadvantage. He was the Halo 2 Classic record holder, and this was Halo 2 Anniversary. That meant adjusting to slightly different physics, tricks, and enemy behavior. Monopoly is one of the best to ever play Halo 2, but 66 deaths obviously wasn't the end goal. However, he left the Halo 2 Anniversary record up for grabs, as after this run, he went back to playing Halo 2 Classic. In fact, that's what most of the community did. Despite Halo 2 Classic having a history dominated by Monopoly, it remained the more popular speedrun. And there's a specific reason why. See, when 343 remastered Halo 2, they based it off of a patched version of the game. As a result, many glitches from the original game weren't present. It may have seemed like a good move at the time, but for speedrunners, these glitches were used all over the place. So, since Halo 2 Anniversary couldn't be optimized like Classic could, many runners simply ignored it. That being said, it wasn't completely abandoned. A community of runners still played Halo 2 Anniversary, trying to better optimize the run with fewer deaths and faster movements. Numerous world records were set, and the time came down quickly. But sadly, from 2015 through 2017, nearly no legendary world record videos survive. It's hard to say why people didn't save their times, especially ones that were world records. Twitch automatically saved them as past broadcasts for a while, but those eventually were deleted, and no records were ever highlighted or uploaded to YouTube. Although we can't watch these runs today, we do thankfully know what the timeline was.
Alright,
Here's what survived.
I'm assuming that's good enough.
Halo 2
Alright, we're gonna put the fast forward speed on 2 times as opposed to 5 times.
Speedrunner Cryphon set a series of
Just so I
world
could take my
records,
time.
ultimately taking the time to 2:03:58. Cryphon was a former competitive Halo player and got into Halo 2 speedruns after seeing the speedrun.
Let's give the
achievements
pink
that
bow
343
to
added.
Ilk.
He spent a few months playing Halo 2 Anniversary.
Let's give the Nevermelt Ice
then moved
to
on playing Halo 2 Classic.
King K. Rool.
A few months later, Andy's Mountain came along. He got into running the
Give
game
the Mystic
same
Water
way
to
Cryphon did,
Gyarados.
seeing the speedrun achievements and trying it out himself. And throughout June 2015, he took the record from 2:03 to 2 hours.
Alright.
Finally,
Arnie, I don't
few
give a
months
crap,
later,
man.
Nazar23 took the top spot.
Alright, now I just need to buy
He
some
was
4
big
stores
into
instead.
speedrunning individual levels, especially Regret, setting numerous records there for Halo 2 Anniversary. He didn't have much interest in running the full game.
Yeah, we're only gonna need
but
like 24
eventually,
stores at
he
most.
was persuaded to try it. And Nazar23 wound up getting the first
Oh,
sub
boy.
2 hour run in the game's
Alright.
history, later lowering the time
Here we
to
go.
1:56.
It's time.
Late in 2016,
Lead
a
with,
pretty big change was made. The community voted
Let's
to
lead with
subtract
Miltank.
votes from
Let me
the
save
final
here
try,
one last time.
since they could vary slightly from runner to runner. That took about 6 minutes off of all runs,
Make a save state.
meaning the world record was
And let's
now
do this.
timed as a 150.
No going
About a
back.
year
Alright.
after this change, one final record was set. A 149 from speedrunner Jervalen, who'd been running the game for a few months and saw his chance to take the top spot. So, this
Oh
is
no, I
Halo
forgot
2
to teach Shadow Ball. Wait,
Anniversary's early timeline.
Oh crap.
An irregular progression, with
Well, this isn't
bursts
good.
of activity followed by months of silence. It's
I thought I taught
unfortunate
Shadow
that no
Ball.
videos survived, but at least the history is preserved. But finally, in April
Not
2018, Jervalen came in clutch. He set a new world record and saved the video. This is the first time we can watch a Halo 2 anniversary record in over 3 years. We last saw
That's
the record
fine.
at 217. Now, it's down to 146. This is gonna look pretty different. Well, right from the get-go, he was more aggressive. All throughout the run, Jervalen attacked enemies more directly.
Dang, I almost thought that was a crit with how much damage it did.
In Cairo alone, the first real level, this saved him 45 seconds. While playing more aggressively
Don't
can
hit
be
yourself,
faster,
please.
you do run the risk of dying
Of
more.
course.
But Jervalen improved in that department too. He saved nearly
Just don't hit
30
yourself,
minutes
please.
over the following
Dang
levels
it!
by reducing
Come on,
the-
Ampharos!
Another
You're
major area
blowing
of
it.
improvement was new strategies. Many of these have been slowly implemented over the last 3.5 years, but this is the first time we can see them in a run. And some are pretty huge. In Oracle, Jervalen sent the elevator up, then got underneath it and sent it back down. The result was him being launched into the air, shooting through the elevator shaft to the top rather than having to ride it. This saves 10 seconds on its own, but also has an important side effect. The game makes you invincible in the elevator shaft, and since the elevator never reaches the top, the trigger to take your invincibility away is never hit.
Trying to get the
So,
para.
you're
There we go,
invincible
okay.
for the remainder of the level. This trick is called the pressure launch, and was found by none other than Mr. Monopoly. Delta Halo was also drastically changed. The level has 5 triggers that must be hit,
Crap.
and
I gotta switch
Jervalen
out
was
because
able to hit them, then work his way out of
He
bounds
hits all.
to take shortcuts. As long as he activated all the triggers, he was able to scale mountains and cut corners all day. He did this more than Monopoly did, and was able to skip fighting many enemies. But the biggest strategy
defeated
of
Will.
all came in Halo 2's final level.
that's making me nervous for the battles to come because that was the
Spectre
easiest one,
inside the
like
final
more or
room.
less.
Normally, that's not possible, since the Spectre travels on the ground and the door to enter is high in the sky.
Oh, we can't use movement.
But by parking it in a safe space earlier in the level, then hopping back in later and riding along the right side ridge, you can stop on top and wait for the Scarab to break open the door. The ending trigger extends out of the building, so you can precisely let the Spectre drop down and fall into
Next
the
is
cutscene.
Koga.
If done
We want to lead
properly,
with
the Spectre will survive and make it inside.
Espeon.
And once
Well, there's
there,
no point in teaching Shadow Ball now,
one of Halo 2's
considering.
finest tricks, Johnson cloning.
Oh wait, no, I never wanted to teach Shadow Ball. I'm an idiot. Never mind.
AI Marines is able to repeatedly
Same.
lower the final boss's shield so you can inflict damage. Johnson only
Yeah, I
shoots
think
the
just
boss
leading
so
with Espeon here is the best
often,
bet.
limiting your abilities to damage him. So let's find a way to create more Johnsons. By forcing Johnson to get in the Spectre, the game detects he's not in the level and spawns another one. By forcing that Johnson to get in, the process repeats. And you can create infinite Johnsons, although each additional one costs more time. Eventually,
Fortress
the
is
game
scaring.
spawns one final Johnson, and you take the other 3 Johnsons to the middle platform in the Spectre. All 4 Johnsons attack the boss, his shields are lowered more often, and the fight is complete in a fraction of the time.
Toxic's fine.
Thanks to Johnson cloning and other tricks,
I can't believe that didn't one shot.
Jervalen had a massive leg.
Ampharos, I know you love hitting yourself, but please this time don't.
But the biggest difference
Ampharos,
between
why?
strategies
Why,
was
Ampharos?
the amount of death.
Come on, man.
Monopoly
Thank
died
you.
66 times in his run.
Dude.
How many deaths did Jervalen have? 9. Jervalen's 146 didn't last on top too long. Even though much of the community was focused on Halo 2 Classic, there was still one top runner who kept his attention on the remake. His name was ByNails, and almost immediately, he began setting records in Halo 2 Anniversary. That May, he beat Jervalen's run by about 3 minutes. There wasn't much in the way of new
Maybe
strategies,
Koga.
but there's a couple levels in particular where he saved big time. Quarantine Zone, the level directly before Gravemind, can be a major run killer. The final 5 minutes are essentially an auto-scroller, but the first section involves doing some extremely careful driving. You have to go from room to room, dodging enemies as much as possible and hoping you don't get sniped. Deaths can be very costly depending on your last checkpoint, and although Jervalen died once, Nails was able to drive faster.
Dude, shut
and
up. Just let me fight you.
So he saved a full minute. Now, on average, Nails did die more across the run. 11 deaths versus Jervalen's 9. But his deaths were less costly, and he played faster elsewhere. In Oracle, he had small time saves while in combat that added up to roughly half a minute. And in Gravemind, despite dying 5 times, he actually gained time over Jervalen. It's an important lesson in Halo 2 speedrunning. Deaths can be costly, yes, but if you're aggressive enough with your play, the time save from being faster can outweigh a few extra deaths. Nails had a great run, but as mentioned earlier, the community's attention was elsewhere. Without the glitches that Halo 2 Classic had, most runners just viewed Halo 2 Anniversary as a sideshow. Despite some solid recent records from Jervalen,
Just don't paralyze me, please.
Top runners
All I
put
ask.
most of their efforts into the original game. That's the way it had been for years, and it showed no signs of stopping. But then, in August 2018, 343 Industries made an announcement that changed everything. Just shy of 4 years after the game's release, 343 modified Halo 2 Anniversary
Oh, crap.
mechanics. There were a handful of minor changes.
Did not know you were
But
going to go
the
for that.
most relevant one for speedrunners? They added glitches from Halo 2 Classic back into the game. It's time to introduce you to Sword.
Please one shot, please one shot.
When Halo 2 Classic was released in 2004, it had one particularly game-breaking glitch. You lock onto an enemy with a weapon, then switch to the energy sword, and cancel the animation of the switch by reloading right as it starts. This creates a 2-frame window where the energy sword turns into a long-range weapon, and can lock onto that same faraway enemy. If you lunge in that tiny window, you'll go flying across the map. This can be done throughout the run, and variations can save even more time. You can jump while flying to get more air, and soar past nearby enemies by adding in a jump and action.
I guess we could do it on Fire Punch.
Bungie patched Sword Tech out of Halo 2 in 2005, and when 343 remastered the game, they followed suit. But in
Alright, I need to look up what Karen
most of the
starts with.
community ignoring Halo 2 Anniversary, Sword Tech was reintroduced. A rare instance of developers adding glitches intentionally.
Gold and Silver team. Okay, so you lead with Umbreon, who's got Confused Ray, Feint, Attack, Sand Attack, and Mean Look. Oh, that's all really scary.
Within months, it would surpass the popularity of Halo 2 Classic. But right away, it was clear that the world record would be shattered.
Yeah, I don't have much screenness for
minutes across the run.
Anything.
You not only gain time by flying through the air, but also reduce your odds.
I think our best bet here is gonna be
the record wasn't
Miltank
at 143 for long. And in October 2018, the first world record with Sword Tech was set. 137.25 by Cryphon. Cryphon did sword flying all over the run. A couple big ones were in Cairo, skipping having to traverse the outside sections. There were a few smaller ones in Arbiter and Oracle, but
Dang
the
it.
significant one came in Regret.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Instead of having to slowly ride on the first gondola,
And next
Cryphon
one
had a
is
big
Vileplume, who's got Stun Spore, Acid,
onto
Moonlight,
a faraway
and
enemy
Petal Dance.
took off.
They're probably gonna want to do some Stun
There were
Spore
actually
shenanigans.
other significant sword flies later, particularly in Gravemind. But Sword Tech was
let's just go Body Slam here.
made in the patch.
I called it.
made slight
Nice, we didn't miss. Okay, free Vileplume, let's go.
Making it more in line with
Hey, Gengar is
Classic.
very scary.
So,
Go for
one other broken
Earthquake here.
mechanic was
We missed, that's not
inadvertently
good.
added back in.
Okay, Curse is actually completely fine.
By getting an enemy in position right above you, you can melee and then cancel to preserve your momentum.
Okay,
and
next is
travel
Murkrow.
around through the air.
Let's go out to
This is used in two major places.
Ampharos.
In Gravemind, you're supposed to go down the elevator to play the prison section, then go back up and resume the rest of the level. But instead, by luring an enemy over and falling with him on top of you, you can butterfly back upwards by...
Okay, next we go to Gyarados, I think, is our best option.
To activate the elevator that takes you back up. The game thinks the prison section is complete, and you save 3 to 4 minutes by not even having to go down there. Prison Skip was found by Mr. Monopoly in 2016.
That's fine. That's fine.
But couldn't
Maybe we get a
be
crit
applied
too.
to Halo 2 Anniversary until now.
No crit, that's fine. We still have speed though.
I did it! I skipped Gravemind Prison! This is Gravemind Prison skip.
Okay, we beat Karen. We have lost no Pokemon. We beat the Elite Four, no deaths.
Second to last.
This is ideal.
The ending portion of High Charity is actually right below where you begin. So if you lure an enemy over and begin butterflying off the edge, you can time your melee so that you have a controlled descent down to the ending. You also have to navigate to the side at times.
Alright, now let me just quickly go over my stats, or my stuff, so I can see if there's anything that needs power point up. The Body Slam on Miltank is probably good. You're fine.
The modern setup was found by Monopoly.
You're
Sword
fine.
Flies, Prison Skip, and High Charity Skip all added in. Cryphon had the potential to save over 10
Yeah, you're fine.
minutes. But his run was only a 6-minute improvement. He died
yeah, I think you're
19
fine.
times,
Maybe
and
Dragon
most
Breath.
sections of the run were slower
Maybe.
outside of the new strategies.
Alright, Dragon Breath and
It was
Milk
an
on.
unoptimized time,
Okay, I can do
but
that.
understandable given that it was
So,
the first world
Body Slam on
record
you,
patch.
and then
With Sword
play
Tech
it safe, Dragon Breath on you.
The community was more excited about Halo 2 Anniversary than ever before. The strategy.
Okay, what item do you have? You have the Mystic Water.
Now,
We're gonna take the Mystic Water off of you, and we're gonna give you the Dragon Fang instead.
Over the following few months, Nails took the
we do still want King K. Rool to have the
Nails had turned
Never
into
Melt
an
Ice.
absolute monster since his
Hilk,
last
what do you
run.
have? What item
And
do you
to
have?
this
Pink
day,
bow.
he's
Yeah,
considered
that's
to be
ideal.
the greatest Halo speedrunner of all time.
And then you have the Amulet coin, and then you have the Quick Claw. I
Game and has held the record
think that's fine. I don't think there's any other held items that we can really give that's worth it.
He was focused on
Alright, this is gonna be really difficult because I have to be really bad, so it may or may not affect my decision making. So, extra bonus challenge, I guess. But, I guess the only thing that we can really do here is give Paralyzed Cure Berry to you.
Was that really enough for
I think that's pretty much it, honestly.
Well,
I think we're
5
good.
minutes might seem like a
Alright, let me look up
difference,
Lance.
but that's because of the nature of Halo 2 Legendary.
Lance's team.
It's an incredibly difficult speedrun to optimize. There's
Okay, we want to pull up the golden. No, I clicked on a freaking Amazon ad. I don't care.
Since deaths cost roughly 30 seconds
Go to
on
gold and silver
average,
team.
it's easy to see why there was so much room for time save. Just 5 days after Nails' 132, another.
Okay, so it leads with Gyarados, who knows Hyper Beam, Rain Dance, Surf, and Flail.
Rocats got the first sub 130 in the game's history. Rocats
Who's got,
into the game in 2016,
let's see here.
but like so many others,
He's got a Gyarados, Dragonite,
returned
Aerodactyl.
once
He's got 3 Dragonites,
back in.
Gyarados, Aerodactyl, and
He
Charizard.
waited for a few months in late
3 out of
2018,
6 Pokemon are weak to electric type. I think we lead with Ampharos here.
He got a 129.55 with only 8
I think
deaths.
that's the best call.
Most of his time save came early, and the only death in the first half was a nearly unavoidable snipe in Metro.
Alright, well,
He
it comes down to
led
this.
Brave Mind due to 6 deaths, but played Great Journey much more aggressively. He did Sword Tech faster and stopped.
Or most of it comes down to this, I guess. I don't really know.
The record was in a good spot, being under 130. But despite the progress, there was still room for improvement. Tricks could be cleaner and combat could be smoother. So,
Outspeed, please.
Rocats
Thank
continued
you.
to play. And over the following
Okay, that's
several
one down.
months, this is what he did.
Next is Dragonite, who we are gonna want to go out do someone else here for. Let's go to Hill. I don't know which Gyarados this is gonna be, or Dragonite this is gonna be. Alright, let's go Body Slam. Let's do half, and we get paralyzed. That's not great, but it's fine.
From the Regret boss fight, where he had an extremely clean kill in his 126.39.
Okay, while he recharges here, we go for Milk Drink.
5 times and reach a damage threshold each time. He can spawn in 8 different locations after each cycle, and if he spawns far away and you get unlucky with other enemy spawns, you can die very
Okay, we got the
easily.
Dragonite down. First one down.
This run, Rocats had an extremely quick fight.
Next is
with no
next
deaths
Dragonite. We want to go
and
Milk Drink
spawns
here.
from the boss.
Live Hyper Beam.
For years,
Good.
Halo 2 Classic had dwarfed
Do we want to go for another
Halo
Milk
2
Drink here?
Anniversary in popularity.
Okay.
But how the turntables? Thanks to the patch, Halo 2
Got a crit.
Anniversary
Okay, we got a Body Slam off though. That's good. We
Classic.
want to heal here.
As expected, competition at the top started to increase. A player named Firebanch became the second runner to cut 130 in early 2021. But Rocats ultimately
Nice, we got a pair on him as well.
getting
Okay,
a
that's clutch. Let's go for
124
Milk Drink
in
here.
August 2021 with a
And
faster boss
okay,
kill in Great
play it
Journey.
safe.
By September, Rocats
Go for another
had
Milk
held
Drink.
the record for close to 3 years straight and showed no signs of giving it up. But then, the Halo 2
Okay,
community
second Dragonite
decided
down.
to make an interesting rule change.
Next is
As mentioned
Aerodactyl.
before, Halo 2
So I can't
starts
do
with
anything
what we
to
call the
realistically.
Hard Mode, which
Let's
is basically a 2.5
switch
minute
out to
cutscene. There's no enemies and time saves are extremely
Ampharos.
It's pretty frustrating to have to begin every speedrun attempt with this level.
Okay, hopefully we
So,
one shot
in
here.
September 2021, the community set up a vote to determine if it could just be skipped, and all
Good.
speedruns could start on.
Okay, last 2 months is Dragonite and
Many old
Charizard. Let's go Thunderwave here.
against removing
Outrage
armor
might kill.
and remain
It doesn't though.
against it
Okay,
to
good.
this day.
Okay, they're locked in an Outrage right now. Okay, let's go to
Remove it, and all Halo 2 runs could now start from Cairo. This changed
for Alligator.
a lot. For one thing, all runs were now 2.5 minutes faster, so the world record was retimed as a 120. But it also changed how runs were
There's
done.
Ice
going
Punch and we should
forward.
one shot.
you could get a good run going.
No, we lost our fur alligator. Crap! I was hoping to not have any losses, but it's fine. It's not fine, but whatever. 4-store. This sucks me. Freaking, you got freaking. He landed an outrage, despite being paralyzed.
New wave of popularity to the speed run.
Please kill here.
A couple months after the rule change, Cryphon got a great.
Okay, well we got the last Dragonite, but we still got.
Held the record in over 3 years, but he was gonna
we still got Charizard to deal with, and I don't have any water types left. Realistically.
And never looked back. Slowly gaining time.
Let's go. Do we go out to Miltank here?
The important sword flies and regret went well, as did the boss fight.
What is your moveset? Hyper Beam, Flamethrower, Slash, Wing Attack. Oh, dang.
He was nearly
it's a great moveset.
Ahead, and on pace for a 120.
Let me see if Charizard outspeeds my Gyarados. 100 speed, and we only have 81. Yeah, almost definitely does. Crap, that's really. I might have to sack off Gyarados here though, for real. We do have a backup Gyarados in the background. Hold on. Is there a move deleter?
His world record chance was gone, but he still got a nice personal best out of it. But Rocats had better look out. With Armory being removed from timing, other runners were more.
Okay, yeah, there is. So if we sacrifice Gyarados, that's actually fine because we have a backup Gyarados. So.
In particular, there were 3 of them.
We outspeed though.
Cryphon was in second place,
and he missed.
Seen how much potential.
Yo, let's go! We didn't lose our Gyarados for no reason. All right, we beat Lance and we only lost our Feraligatr. I'll take it. Feraligatr is a great mon, but
in third place was a runner named Sinister.
We did it.
He'd been running the game for a couple years, slowly lowering himself into world record contention. And while he was still 5 minutes behind the record, he had the potential to get it with a really strong run. And
now,
finally,
just because we beat the champion though, this doesn't mean we're over because we're still gonna do Kanto, but I'm gonna save that for the next stream because I've been going for almost 3 hours now.
Focusing on Halo 2 Anniversary with Cryphon as his mentor.
But there we go, we did it.
Farthest from the record. With
pretty nervous.
Goal being to beat Cryphon and
it sucks that we lost Feraligatr because I almost definitely would have brought it to red with me, but
over his competitors, thanks to a trick he went for right as the speed run begins. Tram skip. At the start of Cairo, there's a tram that leaves behind you. It passes by a later section of the level, so if you can just go where the tram is headed,
Miltank was the MVP of that fight because it freaking
barrier that pushes you back, and it
took out like 2 Dragonites on its own, pretty much.
That you also can't pass through.
Amazing.
If you try to approach the barrier,
but,
you'll get pushed back through the open door.
Go ahead and make some save states. Let me save here. And I'm gonna leave the stream off there. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, hopefully the next Hardcore Nuzlocke series stream we will be done with Gold and Silver. If I lose though, I'm gonna have to start all the way over, so I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Have a great day, everybody.